𝗫𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗵, the issue of the untouchable cop. Again bogadzira bere timbopfeka bere zvakanaka bere timbopfeka timbosimira nai timbopfeka timbosimira apa ndichibvisa your light no ndoda kubvisa volume. Keep it on silent, ladies and gentlemen. Makadi vana veZimbabwe nai zvinorema 𝗁𝗂𝗿𝗵 zviri kufamba here. 𝗁𝗂𝗿𝗵, how are you? Welcome 𝗖𝗹𝗲𝗿. Thank you signoro venguo tsvuku. How are you doing? I'm well. Ladies and gentlemen, developments coming from South Africa, where my brother died, 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗀. Issues confirming that my brother could have been poisoned are cropping up, but I am not going to dwell on that today until we find a post-mortem. We are just waiting for a post-mortem to understand kuti zviri kufamba sei. Those in the United Kingdom, America, wherever you are, chema ya 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗀 iri kuiswa mu account yandakataura nezvayo yamukoma. Ndakati mukoma anenge mupana kwandiri, mukoma papfungwa, vakuru vacho vanoziva, Alex Magaisa. Saka wese ane chema yakabata yatakataura kuti mbobatai chema dzenyu tizive kuti center of collection yechema yaDhewa ndeyipi iri kuiswa muaccount yakapuwa namukoma kana kuti munin'ina Alex Magaisa. Angona kuti mukoma, angona kuti munin'ina, you never know, takura tachembera. Right, so the issue that I need to talk about, baba 𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗍𝒫𝗃 makadi sekemtema zviri kufamba here. D, how are you? I failed to give you a call yesterday. Things were a bit tight. Ndangoerekana ndarara ndakagara. I wanted to try and do a live on Facebook yesterday. I couldn't. I was not feeling well. Mukoma Amos Chivaro. Zviri sei mwana Chivaro ro Chivaro. Zviri sei mwana wamai kwakadii kuchamhembe. As I will still owe you. I still owe you. Thank you Mukoma Amo. I know you can make ends meet. You are a brother in need. Some people are brothers in need. Mavanso Evans Vanso baba makadi right. Mukoma Evans zviri kufamba here. Wellington Mutandwa, my brother, how are you doing over there? Peter Bush, ndakasimba mwana wamai tanti banda zviri kufamba here. Okomana ngatidaidzane. Probably this is the last week using this account, then we'll resort back to our account. 𝗨𝗵𝗵𝗀 mukoma yuda makadi ndakasimba mwana wamai totoita kuti zvitapire zvinakidze nai. Mukoma yuda muri sei? Precious chimutanda sharing atete makadi zviri kufamba here. Mukoma 𝗏𝗵𝗍𝒃𝗃 welcome to the program where we are going to talk more about the untouchable cop, the untouchable police officer. First of all, I want to show Zimbabweans what type of futi. Forget mukanda chimta zviri sei mazi. Shepherd sorry wangu anytime. Thank you D. I wasn't feeling well yesterday. You know, my morale is down and a lot of things are down. But I try to cheer up myself. Mukoma Amo zviri sei pride chama mwana wamai zviri kufamba here. Julie Juice zviri kufamba mavanza. Itaika zveTwitter. Itaika kutwitter ndiriko but ndichazoenda nombotry kupena maspace tichitaura naye CEO real comrade 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗵𝗯 zviri kufamba here. Chama uri sei mwana wamai? Ndakoti regai tiwe tikurukure naye about what is trending on social media, what is trending on news. At the patients for how are you? So we are going to talk a lot of things. I am going to touch the forensic science part of this investigation, a brief outline of key information often setting out main points, main points covered in this scenario. So I'm going to touch a little bit of forensic expertise that should be considered when faced with this type of scenario. Mkoma Gilbert Nasho Yuda ndapinda long time ndakashimba mkoma Gitsa zviri kufamba ere Angela gender sevata zviri kudini atetenji makasimba ere. So what I'm saying is we've got an issue that we're going to discuss tonight concerning the untouchable cop Joseph Nemaisa, the former detective, CID detective in Zimbabwe. Is someone what untouchable. What type of a person when someone is being described as untouchable? Mkoma Zenzo, Deft Mpapa. What type of a person when someone is being described as untouchable? Someone untouchable. Someone untouchable. It's very unfortunate I couldn't find the video that I'm going to talk much about, but I've got this video of the scene. It's something traumatic which I cannot show people. Roderick Noah, this is my young brother. Rodi, how are you? Lord Crab, Tripano, Nkoma Steven Tinaru, welcome. So let's talk about the untouchable cop, Joseph Nemaisa. So during this presentation, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to touch, or I'm going to look into key information, often setting out the main points covered in this scenario. Nemaisa revealed to the Herald that he used a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 firearm. He revealed to the investigators or on a video which was shot. Thank you so much. Pane video yandinayo ye blood nezvituna. I don't want to show that video. Some people are not of that moyori strong, but I was looking for this other video. This gentleman was explaining achitenderera ari panze, quite a lot of things that are not adding up that we should look into. Blessing male mbava pa Zimbabwe dzanyanya. Let them learn from this situation. Yes, Mkoma Blessing Rosie Mushonga zvirise vana mushonga kumadzimai kandoka kweduka kunana kuvasikana vedu kana mushonga zvirise Rosie Mushonga regai nditi sweetheart naye because ndimaiguru kana kuti mainina zviri kufamba hanzi no, don't show, it's too graphic. Definitely the video is too graphic. I can't show it, but I'll just play it what he was saying. The video is too graphic. Pamwana vana moyo wekutarisa posipane zvituna 3 zvakafa, vakomana vatatu vakapfurwa vakafa ipapo. So what is surprising Zimbabweans, Leonard Masamba Mashavi ndisawira musi wanofa ndindomugezesa ndakamudimbomira kudya musi wanofa ndinoda kuzobata tsvina yakawandisa ndoda kuti ufe silently ndogona kuya chete kuzongo kugezesa mfana anonzi Leonard Masamba ndisawira chaiye kuti musi wanofa vandodana inini kuti sawira wako wafa. Vice President chauke zviri kufamba Emerson Zuwa, Petros Tinyero zviri kudini. Saka toda kutaura, this is an untouchable cop, Joseph Nemaisa, the guy who divulged on a video, the video that he was explaining how he came to say innocent Gungo zviri kufamba, how he came to be alerted by his son to say we are under attack at home. Tatapindirwa pamba, and this guy angachita angari kuchisipiti. Leonard usaseka kabozi ukaramba uchidya uchadumbu musonofa unondiremera unoda kusandura chituna chakura sewo zvinonetsa Leonard naye hanzi mkomafidza mananje brother Yuda hanzi mati verazira mkomafidza chika hanzi handiwanzosara. Thanks mwana wamai jola zviri kufamba iri mukoma Joma Kotose zviri kudini. Tsura isawira wangu Leonard ari panapa, ndisawira wangu chaiye Cook haripo anza mkoma long time mkoma kuku ndimunenge musipo ini ndeni reverse imi mamupa amusikubatika. I don't know what vanhu patangomira kushandisa account inoyi vanhu vakabva vatanga kuta desert the account. Ndakati inini tikablokwa kunoku tunoenda to the other account, tikablokwa to the other account tinodzoka kunoku. Handipo video kuinbox ndokupa Leonard but ndati inini hama dzangu dziri panapa dzikutsure kudya too much musi waunofa Leonard ndotambura kukusandura ndine nchikugezesa. Things don't add up panyaya iyi hatina kuvharwa here. So I am going to consider this whole issue and I'm going to consider if Panama loopholes ekuti. So whilst I'm talking about this incident, information setting the main points covered in this scenario. So 𝗏𝗫𝗊, the problem that 𝗏𝗫𝗊 did is he made advantage yekuita mugadhijeri is you quickly reason. Advantage yekuita mugadhijeri is you quickly reason. You quickly reason. You don't just give assertions, but you quickly reason. Kuti kana nda reason apanapa chii chinonzi reasoning ndiye ndichitarisirwa kuti ndinge ndichiite when I am being said kuti inini I am reasoning. Pane kumwe kureasona kusina musoro takamboita mugadhijeri. Saka chavanotaura chipinda basa taiudzwa kunzi a prison officer kana ukanzi waita mhosva calm down. Muri kunzwa ukanzi waita mhosva uri a prison officer wapara mhosva onzi 𝗫𝗵𝗵 wapara mhosva. Saka zvataita kuprison isusu taita first of all you calm down. Video iripo but we cannot show it. It's too graphic. It's too graphic. So what happens is when you ukanzi wapara mhosva, you have shot 3 people dead and 2 of the people escaped. So what you do is take a step back and evaluate the scenario or the situation. Clint! Hello dear. Oh, every time I start my life on Facebook, my girl comes. Can someone come and pick my girl? Oh, lovely girl. You lovely girl. Bye. Oh, sorry, Nona. Don't cry. Close my doors. Sorry guys, every time yandotanga kuita live vanobva vatanga kuuyawo mainini ndimainini kamuzukuru kangu. So what I'm saying is kana uchinge wanzwa commit a crime or hauna commit a crime like in this scenario, people are assuming that Joseph 𝗏𝗫𝗊 did not commit a crime because what he is saying is his family was held hostage by armed people. Then he was phoned by his son. No, we are under siege at home. And this guy was 𝗁𝗁𝗏𝗫𝗊. Then he had to travel back. He never alerted the police. You understand? They are quite, it's a mysterious story that we are discussing here. Mkoma Joseph, when he received a call that we are under siege at home or we have been held hostage at home by armed people, this information was relayed from his son whilst the son was inside the house. You understand? A lot of things are not making sense. This gender, the mwana wacho akanga ari mumba akatwana phone yekufonera baba vake akati baba tabatwa hostage tiri mumba mune varume vane pfuti. And this gentleman did not alert the police that armed people have held hostage my family at home. Anga ari kuChisiphiti. Imagine a distance from Chisiphiti to 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏. So he rushed from Chisiphiti kuenda kuChadcombe. And vanhu vanoziva 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏, the area isingagare just ordinary people. Most guys vanga vari mumasiya iwo kunana prison vakanga nemari tumari twavo ndo vanhu vakavaka kunana 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏. So this gentleman traveled from Chisiphiti, rushed home to 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏 usiku ihwohwo akabva kuma6, I think hanzi akasvika kuma8 here. I'll analyze that report. Saka a period yakatora traveling from 𝗁𝗵𝗔 to 𝗁𝗵𝗃 to go and shoot to kill. Some of the people here shot and killed are members of the Zimbabwe National Army. Vamwe vacho vanga vari makomando. Mukada kuziva what we call commando, munobvunza vana shepherd kuti masoja anonzi masoja akaita sei, haana kumira zvakanaka. Vakomana veku one command. Yeah, it's back now. It was just rotating to say poor network, poor network. Tita Uchai. Sorry guys, I don't know. Let's see what. Guys, network yangu. This is a new network. Network Mambara. Yeah, it's a new network. And they claim it's faster. Honestly, I just installed this network this week. I started using it this week. But look, it's still poor. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, guys. But let me, because when I talk 2 minutes. Then 10 minutes it will be rotating, reconnecting, move to a different area where there is network. Honestly, unlimited internet, which is doing all of this rubbish. Anyway, let me continue to say what I was saying. Let me go back and reintroduce this as well for the benefit of those people who are just joining us. That we are discussing about the untouchable cop, 𝗁𝗵𝗵𝗶. 𝗁𝗵𝗵𝗵 vakanga vari ma-CID vakuru avo, andimona. So during this presentation, I'm going to touch on a lot of information, including main points covered in this scenario where this gentleman, untouchable cop 𝗁𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗶, shot and killed 3 suspected armed robbers. We are not yet to call them armed robbers. We say suspected armed robbers because there are quite a lot of information that is not adding up. Before I start analyzing that information, let me go to what the police has said. ZRP, Zimbabwe Republic Police investigation, with the initial report that was produced by Zimbabwe Republic Police. So let me talk about this report, which was published by Zimbabwe Republic Police. So let me summarize and explain information I've come across on this report by Zimbabwe Republic Police. So from this information, this is where we are going to dwell much on our presentation. So what happened here is this report has been released today by Zimbabwe Republic Police. It's a press statement. A press statement is subject to scrutiny. So we are going to read here that the reference, this one is update on an armed robbery case in 𝗁𝗵𝗃, Harare. So reference is made to an armed robbery incident which occurred at 𝗁𝗵𝗵𝗃's 𝗁𝗵𝗃 home in Harare on the 6th of December 2021. Ademon. The Zimbabwe Republic Police has arrested ex-constable Francis Takura, who is aged 33 years, and Private Virimai Nyandoro, who is aged 37 years. Guys, I want you to pay attention on this report. This is a press statement released by Zimbabwe Republic Police. So they have arrested. That means these guys were 5. 3 were shot dead at the scene, and 2 escaped. So the escapees, or those 2 who escaped from the scene, have been arrested. So these are ex-constable, former police constable, Francis Takura, who is aged 33 years, and a serving member of the Zimbabwe National Army, a private in the army, anonzi 𝗍𝗵𝗍𝗶𝗀, aged 37 years. So these are the escapees who escaped from the shooting, from the crime scene, and they've been arrested. So this Nyandoro is of the Zimbabwe National Army. They escaped from 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 on the night of 6th of December 2021. Mapabata, the two who escaped from the shooting incident, have been arrested. And very two, one wacho is an ex-policeman, anonzi Franz Takura Angari, a constable. And the other one is a private in the army, anonzi 𝗍𝗵𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗀 Nyandoro. These two have been arrested. They are the two suspects suspected to have escaped from where? From the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 house, from Joseph Nemaisa's house. The police has also identified the three suspects who were shot dead through the National Fingerprints Bureau, and the police scenes of crime experts has listed vafi vari kunzi vakatorwa mafingerprints vakaendwa nawo ku Fingerprints Bureau vakanotariswa kunzi ndavanani, handi muri kunzwa, vakaonekwa kunzi ndavanani, and vakabva va-identify, they've been identified. One of the deceased is Brian Koga, aged 38 years, of Chikupo village in Murewa. The other deceased is 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, aged 30, of number 573, Ushewekunze in Harare. The other deceased, the third deceased is Tariro Gora, aged 21, of one commando barracks, Harare. This is where this situation or the story doesn't make sense. Two of the suspects, one dead is a commando, and the other one is a private in the army. Haana kutaurwa kuti ari best kupi. Mumwe wacho mupurisa, ex-policeman. So kuvamwe ava was three, tanzwa kuti wekutanga pane vakafa, one wacho is mukomando. Pavapenyu vese vari two vakatiza, one is an ex-policeman and the other one is a private in the army. So we are talking of three trained men. And we don't know about Brian Koga Tendere. Kuti akanga ari mbavhawe here chete, kana akanga ari chii. And we don't know much about 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, kuti akanga ari chii. But we are going to find out as we go along this presentation. So stay tuned, Murambe Magatete. Recovered a long bar shift spanner, right? They've arrested the other two. They've recovered a long bar shift spanner, and more that's Boboja and Irare, right? They've recovered 5 screwdrivers. Network yangu, guys. I think I have to go back to Sky. Network yangu is so poor. Number of viewers, but let's continue. Nongoramba ndichiita painenge yadzoka, but I think I have to go back to Sky. So what happened is now, when these two men were arrested, the police said they've recovered a shift spanner, 5 screwdrivers, short bar level, spirit level. They've recovered a wheel spanner. They've recovered an AK assault, an AK magazine loaded with 17 by 7.62 millimeter live rounds. They've recovered 12 by 7.62 millimeters spent cartridges and a Noriko pistol with a magazine of 6 rounds at the scene of crime. So this is what has been recovered at the scene of crime. Pawanikwa magazine ye-AK assault rifle ma-7.62mm live rounds. Kuba kwawanikwa 12 ma-spent cartridges awanikwa pa place of scene. Pakawanikwa pistol inonzi Norinco, a pistol with a magazine of 6 rounds at the scene of crime. So these things have been recovered by police from the scene of crime. Investigations, let me see here. Investigations by police so far have revealed that the Norinco pistol was stolen through robbery on the 5th of November 2021 at a house along 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃 Avenue, Harare. Further investigation led to the recovery of a .22 rifle fitted with a telescope sight, a .303 rifle, an AK-47 magazine loaded with 25 rounds, a .303 rifle magazine loaded with 7 live rounds hidden in Toriro Gora's room. That means more firearms have been recovered. Tariro Gora is from one commando. And room kwake an AK magazine with 25 rounds. We are talking of a soldier from one commando whose room was searched and found with an AK magazine, ne 303 magazine, pakawanikwa 303 rifle, pakawanikwa a telescope, pakawanikwa a .22 rifle fitted with a telescope. Saka kumba kwa mfana uyu mkomando uyu kwawanikwa futi mbiri nema magazines mamwe 303 ne AK ne 25 rounds ku room kwake. This guy was shot dead. So police have also established that Francis Takura was discharged from the police support unit. One of these guys, Francis Takura, can we check whether Francis Takura is an ex-constable who was dismissed, who was discharged, akadzingwa basa ku police support unit in 2018. Brian Koga Tendere was recently released from prison after serving a 10-year sentence for a robbery case which occurred in Borode, Harare in 2011. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 was on bail pending trial for the ZB bank robbery involving 2.7 or 2.8 million US dollars. So, and the 40,000 RTGS or Zimbabwe dollars in cash in transit, which occurred in Nyabira on the 6th of January 2021, while Toriro was a rogue soldier who escaped from duty with the service rifle. So this is what the police have established so far. So the gang is linked to a spate of armed robbery cases in and around Harare, with one complainant 50 who is aged 50 identifying his stolen shoes from the suspect's pictures, which trended on social media. Meanwhile, the police applauds the public for the cooperation given in fighting robbery cases in the country. So this is the report, initial report released by the police. The police are saying the suspects who have been arrested, one of them was discharged from support unit, was a member of the support unit. Angari mu support unit anonzi Francis Takura. One wacho asungwa panapa musoja anonzi Private Wirima Nyandoro. Pane vafa Brian Koga Tendere, anonzi Brian Koga Tendere uyu. Anzi was released from prison after serving a 10-year sentence for robbery case which occurred in Borode in 2011. So he was arrested, sentenced to imprisonment for 10 years, and he has just been released from prison. Ndiye one wacho afa anonzi Brian Koga Tendere. Because the other guy afa anonzi 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 ainzi Biggers is one of the guy who was suspected to have been involved in a ZB robbery pakarohwa 2.8 million US dollars plus 40,000 Zimbabwe dollars. This occurred kunyabira on the 6th of January 2021. So one of the anzi butsu pane mumwe complainant aona butsu yake akati butsu yo ndaiziva butsu yangu. Imagine kuZimbabwe unotoziva nebhutsu yako kuti bhutsu yangu ndeiyo yakapfekwa nemunhu akapfurwa apo. So this report has been released by Assistant Commissioner 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗯𝗏𝗏 ndo vareleasa this report. So let me look into what has been trending on social media. On social media, there is a report that has been trending here. Let me see which one I should dwell into first before. Right, there is a report which dates back. We are talking of this untouchable cop, 𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗏. The cop, let's look at 𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗏. 𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 is a retired CID homicide veteran. Took on 5 suspected thugs who were armed with at least 2 AK rifles after they held his family hostage in the 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗀 neighborhood of Harare on Monday night. This incident occurred on Monday night. And this 𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 is a retired homicide veteran who took on these 5 suspects or 5 thugs who were armed with at least 2 AK assault rifles. They held his family hostage in 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗀. So among the 3 men gunned down were 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 Tariro Gora 21 and 𝗨𝗁ஹ𝗁ćĩrara, both soldiers in the Zimbabwe National Army. This is probably 𝗨𝗁Ｈ𝗁ćĩrara hapana paakambonzi musoja. This is what is trending on social media. But uyu Tariro Gora anga achinzi mukomando. Brian uyu anga abva kujeri, the 3rd suspect. So this other report trending here says 𝗨𝗁ćĩrara uyu musoja. So all the suspects here now are linked to the Zimbabwe National Army, are linked to the Zimbabwe Republic Police, and they are being said Tariro Gora has been said to be a rogue element in the army. So Chirara was one of over 10 suspects. There are a lot of suspects on the 2.7 million ZB Bank cash in transit heist in January, and they had been released on bail by High Court. Tendere meanwhile was once jailed for 10 years for armed robbery. Akatongwa 12, 2 suspended. Akaseva 10 years for armed robbery and was released this year. So police are closing. The police were reported yesterday that they are closing on the 2 suspects who escaped through a bedroom window, making sure they took the slain colleagues' firearms as they exited through bedroom window. One of the suspects has been named as Tatenda Mumbire. So this is one of the suspects named here, Tatenda Mumbire. But the 2 suspects who were arrested, apana Tatenda Mumbire. The 2 suspects arrested here, apana Tatenda Mumbire. Pana Francis Takura, because they are private, Virimai Nyandoro. But the police released a name, Regunzi Trukuchaga Munanonzi Tatenda Mumbire, who was also a suspect on this matter. You understand? So this is why I'm saying the cop is untouchable. And this mysterious scenario or a story is difficult for people of Zimbabwe to stitch it together and make sense of what exactly could have been happened. Saka Tatenda Mumbire has been named as a suspect in this case. So he became a 60th suspect. But as far as it is stated here, only 5 people were involved. And 3 were shot dead. 2 were arrested. But there is a 6th suspect, Anonzi Tatenda Mumbire, who is being suspected to be part of the gang. So what surprises in Zimbabwe, ladies and gentlemen, is that armed robbers, you have heard that 𝗏𝗏𝗏 was on bail. This 𝗏𝗏𝗏 was on bail. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 was on bail for 2.8 million haste ZB car. And this 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has been granted bail. Armed robbers being granted bail in our country. But we still have political activists like Marco still locked in prison, who has not committed any crime, who is not an armed robber, did not commit any crime at all. He is still in prison. While someone who stole 2.8 million plus 40,000 in RTGS, 2.8 million were in United States dollar. This guy, this gentleman, or this robber, has been released on bail. Someone who just whistled, could no, abductor munwa, who just whistled, blowing a whistle in Harare, he has spent 2 years or 3 years now in prison. He served 1 year and 2 years on remand, still in prison. But armed robbers are being granted bail in our country. So let us look at an old story reported of the guy some months ago. Then rethink this whole event. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to look at the story which made trends on social media, on newspapers, of the untouchable cop, 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗯. The gentleman, the Rambo, the Zimbabwean Rambo, touted to have taken 5 armed robbers alone. And he used a pistol. There is a type of pistol that looks like 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. The 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. He was armed with a 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. He was armed with a 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And he shot 3 suspected robbers dead at his house. One of the suspected robbers, I want you to have an insight into this matter. This is why I am repeating some crucial points, some main points in this presentation. That this gentleman I'm talking about, and the untouchable cop, 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, he was armed with a 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. A 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is a pistol, it looks like an 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Let me show you this weapon that I'm talking about. A 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 9mm pistol. Let me show you this 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Zimbabweans would want to understand. This is the 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's a 9mm pistol. This is the 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It looks like an 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Those who know 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It looks right like an 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. This is probably could have been probably manufactured by the same company that manufactured the 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So if you look, it has got a telescope there, magazine, it's a pistol. It's a pistol. They call it 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. This is one of the pistols that this gentleman was armed with. You know, this is an ex-cop. He's not a serving. He's not a serving member of the police. He's not a serving member of the police. He's a retired. He's a retired. Musiyadi akaretire akabuda basa. Abuda basa. Then nova aenda kuita lawyer. He's now a lawyer. Futiari armed nayo. This type of pistol that he was armed with is 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's a very powerful pistol. It's a semi-automatic pistol. Very powerful pistol. Just like 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I don't think people in Zimbabwe are licensed to have this type of weapons. I don't think the Zimbabwe government would license you to have this type of a pistol. Because Joseph Nemaisa is a retired CID homicide veteran. So 2 of the 3 men he killed while robbing or suspected robbers he killed. This Zimbabwean Rambo is a retired dictator who shot and killed members of the Zimbabwe National Army. Amongst them, he shot and killed a member of the commando, an elite force in our country. Commando, ndo mauto ekuti pazvinenge zvaoma panonzi apa papindika apa, commando inonopinda ipapo. These are specialist forces. Commando is a specialist force. Now, the untouchable cop has exterminated robbers who were on bail again, robbing that 2.8 million US. Among the dead was a member of the elite force in Zimbabwe, the commando, a commando panam. So my main concern is about the type of weapon that Joseph Nemaisa, as a retired detective, was allowed to keep. Was this weapon licensed? Because this is my main worry, my main concern, that our Zimbabwean Rambo, Joseph Nemaisa, was a detective. And we all know that this gentleman was a member of the G40. Don't forget this. He was the member of the G40, an offshoot of ZANU-PF that troubled the people of Zimbabwe. If we talk of the missing of 𝗖𝗹𝗲𝗵 today, we talk of the G40. We pin it on the ZANU-PF. Let me not differentiate G40 and 𝗏𝗏𝗏, because the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has had key decision makers who even signed at the disappearance of 𝗖𝗹𝗲𝗵. So we are talking about Joseph Nemaisa, who was a key cog detective in the homicide, who was a key cog who played a crucial role in maintaining a sub-unit that was called G40 in ZANU-PF. So most of his work are remembered as G40, a man who exterminated a lot of MDC activists, who troubled a lot of MDC activists. And this is the untouchable cop, Joseph Nemaisa. Those who can remember this gentleman, he was the one behind the survival of G40 or ZANU-PF function known as G40. So 2 of the people he killed were members of the force, or one of the guy killed in this armed robbery thing on Monday night is a member of one commando. And I've stated earlier on that Joseph's son, these are key information I'm going to use or utilize. Joseph's son is the one who phoned him. Ari kuchisipiti kuti kuno kuchadhikombo tapindirwa nevanhu vane pfuti. He never bothered to ring the police. He drove from Chisipiti to Chadcom. He never even told the police. He never phoned the police. Kumba kwangu kune armed robbers. Can we go, or can you come and help me? He never did that. He became a Zimbabwean Rambo who went there alone, armed with a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 pistol, to go and deal with the 5 armed robbers who were armed with AK assault rifles, pistols, and so forth, who had held his family at hostage at the property. So, is how genuine is this matter? that Zimbabwe Rambo, with a pistol, approached 5 armed robbers with AK assault rifles. He never alerted the police. Kuti kumba kwangu kwaita armed robbers, my family has been held hostage. He just drove straight from 𝗶𝗂𝗃 to 𝗏𝗏𝗃 and started shooting, killing these suspected robbers at his house. And the so, among the 3 men gunned down, pana 𝗨𝗫𝘁𝚻𝗂𝗏, paiona Brian Utendere. 𝗨𝗫𝘁𝚻𝗂𝗏 akanzi akabuda mujeri, akaseva 10 years. 𝗨𝗫𝘁𝚻𝗂𝗏 ndiye ari kunzi ari among vanhu vakaba 2.7 million, 2.8 million yeku-ZB Bank. Andidimona. Tendere arunzi ndiye akanga aseva 10 years mujeri achangobuda. Saka mapurisa vakatanga kupa masuspects vachitarisa kuti vari kuda kutsvaga mukomana anonzi Tatenda Mumbire. But later on, the 2 suspects who were arrested to make them 5, because vanga vachinzi vari 5 vano, hapana Tatenda Mumbire ipapa, pane 2 vazobatwa. So armed robbers chinondinetsa muZimbabwe chekuti vanhu vanokomita mhosva, ma-armed robbers vanoita mamedha vandase vanopuwa mabhero. Iwo kungowisila chete muZimbabwe ukangoti ZANU-PF must go, you are worse than an armed robber, you are worse than a murderer, and you must rot in prison. We still have Marco in prison, whilst these armed robbers are given bail, released to continue to trouble the people of Zimbabwe. And so I was looking at a case. There is a case that happened on this untouchable CID member, a retired police member. You remember there was a case at Mbare Magistrate where the magistrate Sharon Rakafa once recused herself from the trial of this Joseph Nemadire. I want you guys, this is crucial information that you must digest, take aboard with you. This gentleman known as Joseph Nemadire was once arrested, taken to court, Mbare Magistrate Court. But the magistrate who was supposed to sit and try this gentleman recused herself. He said he cannot hear this matter. Okay, please may you refer it to another magistrate, not me. The magistrate recused herself from this case, and this gentleman, Joseph Nemadire, was accused of brutally assaulting a Central Intelligence Organization informer. This gentleman, I don't call him an informer, but he's just a member of the CIO. 𝗖𝗹𝗲𝗿 𝗨𝗫𝘁𝚁𝗂𝗰𝗵. This 𝗨𝗫𝘁𝚁𝗂𝗰𝗵 was brutally assaulted by Joseph Nemadire. And this case was taken to Mbare Magistrate. And that Mbare Magistrate, Sharon Rakafa, refused or recused herself from the case. The magistrate excused herself. She did not give any explanation. She did not give any reason why she had made that decision. And she just remanded that case to a certain date and said, I can't hear this matter. This matter involved a detective in the homicide, CID detective, Joseph Nemadire, and a CIO operative, 𝗨𝗫𝘁𝗂𝗃𝗵. In this case, he was brought to court by way of summons 6 months after the attack on this CIO man. Guys, this is crucial information that you must digest as we go along. That this gentleman, the state scared to bring him before the magistrate. And they just summoned him. Kuti Joseph Nemadire, muri kukumbirwawo nedare kuti muuye kukoti muzotongwa. Mushaya makarova zvakaiparara muCIO 𝗨𝗫𝗁𝗫𝗁𝗃𝗵. This is where I've used this word untouchable cop. because dai ari shepherd Yuda kwaiuya pfuti, kwaiuya nemahelicopter, kwaiuya nesimbi dzaisunga muhuro nemalegayons nozvuzvurudzirwa mukoti. But because this gentleman is special somewhere, the court had to beg him to appear before the court. They had to give him summons kuti auvharirwe, auitwe sei, uri kudaidzwa kudare kuzotongwa. Magistrate aona zvakadaro, she recased herself. This case is not a clear case. I cannot try this case. You understand? So this is where it is said, in this case, he was only brought to court by way of summons 6 months after the attack of 𝗨𝗁𝘁cie𝘂𝗰𝗵. Court heard that the untouchable cop refused to sign a warned and cautioned statement. Because when you commit a crime, a warned and cautioned statement is recorded by the police. And as an accused, the police will give you to read your warned and cautioned statement, or your warned and cautioned statement will be read to you whilst you listen. If it is the true account of what you have stated, then you sign, you put your signature, you append your signature. So this gentleman, Joseph Nemaise, refused to append his signature on a recorded, warned, and cautioned statement. And more, this gentleman has several human rights cases which were reported following him, and this case were following him, but he has never been prosecuted. He is the gentleman probably responsible for the demise of Itai Dzamara. So don't dismiss this, because this gentleman has got several cases of human rights which were reported, but he was never even prosecuted on any one of those crimes. And anymore, this is why you see magistrates in our country, they are scared, they fear to bring to trial such people in our country. So there is no rule of law in our country. There is no justice in Zimbabwe. So you will find that the court had to give him summons. Instead of sending a warrant of arrest, the magistrate couldn't do that. Couldn't do that. What they simply did is a summon, kutonyora summon kutodaidza kukoti kuti vaJoseph Nemaise munokumbirwawo nedare kuti muye muzomira pamberi pamajistrate muchitongwa nemhosva yekurova zvakaiparara vanonzi va𝗨𝗁𝘁cie𝘂𝗰𝗵. And when the police recorded him a warned and cautioned statement, he refused to sign it. He refused to append his signature. So court heard the untouchable cop refused to sign a warned and cautioned statement, prompting the investigating to submit an incomplete docket to the National Prosecution Authority. It's like CPS in the UK, where a docket is taken to the National Prosecuting Authority. Then they will go through the docket. Then they will sit down and decide if there are chances of winning that case in court. And they take the case to court. So the NPA, just like CPS, National Prosecuting Authority, they sent to court an incomplete docket. According to the state, Nemaise, he allegedly dragged Ngwaya from a courtroom where he was answering to extortion charges. He assaulted Ngwaya while he was handicapped. There is a video about it. There is a video. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show people that video because these videos are graphics. You can hear Ngwaya achichema. He was being dragged from that court. Achidragwa pama stairs. Vachimudhonzera pasi. Ndobva aenda pasi ndobva vamupina. Vakamurova mahandcuffs nekumashure vakataka kumudraga futi kuenda naye pasi. So you can hear him crying. Uza muchinda anonzi 𝗨𝗁𝘁cie𝘂𝗰𝗵. I will show you this gentleman. Ane picture recently yaakabuda ane mwana wa 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 achipa Rolls Royce era menu kan Rolls Royce amendu moiti chimotikari yayi, and a very expensive car that Ngwaya gave to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's son. So this Ngwaya cried like a baby. He wailed, cried like a monkey. The video is there. Unfortunately, I can't show it because of its graphic content. And so, according to the state, Ngwaya was dragged from a courtroom where he was answering the extortion charges. This Ngwaya munhu ari padhuze na president wedu weZimbabwe vanonzi va Emmerson Mnangagwa are very close to Emmerson Mnangagwa's family. This Ngwaya is the guy also involved in the drugs looting and corruption drugs. Nemari dzedu dzavakapuwa neUnited Nations kuti ipai vachembere dzamakavharira mudzimba dzipei mari dzitenge chikafu panguva yeCovid pandemic. Saka uyu 𝗨𝗁𝘁cie𝗂𝗰𝗵 ndiye akaba na minister ainzi Moyo uya ndo vakaba mari yacho iyoyo. Ndo varinotenga Rolls Royce akapa mwana waED Mnangagwa. So during this time yaidregwa achichema kunge kiti nemabayo chema yakanga iri nguva I think yakanga iri nguva 𝗏40 inana mbuya Grace Mugabe vachitaura kuti Mnangagwa wajaira. Saka ndo makore acho ndo mazuva acho. This Ngwaya 𝗨𝗁𝘁cie𝗂𝗏 and murikuona ndo paidregwa achidonzerwa pasi akasungwa. Then because this Ngwaya as well was answering to extortion charges. He was assaulted whilst under handcuffs and dragged him down 3 staircases at Rotten Row Magistrate Court in August, I think 2017 or 2016 ikoko. And in 2017 around ikoko ndikwa zvakaitika nyaya. So it was a drama which brought business to a standstill at the courts as people rushed out of courtrooms to witness this spectacular event. Unozati pa magistrate court ukangota unnecessary noise. You can be dragged before a court without what jail for nuisance. But ipapo Ngwaya akachema kunge chikiti chine mabayo achidregwa vamurova mahandcuffs nekumashure apa Ngwaya anga akamirira kutongwa mhosva yake extortion. So after dragging handcuffed Ngwaya, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and his crew, they bundled their victim in the truck before they proceeded to CID homicide. Nyaya inyatsoibatai. So court head, he continued assaulting him, damaging his cell phone and a wristwatch worth about $2,000 in the process. This 𝗨𝗁𝘁𝑠 I claim out I have a wristwatch worth $2,000. Saka ukada kubvunza ipapo kuti masiyayo aihora mari yekuti 𝗨𝗁𝘁𝑠 aipfeka watch $2,000 and more. So it is alleged that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 then produced a pistol. This gentleman was shot three suspect armed robbers. Ipapo akabva produce a pistol and threatened to shoot Ngwaya. Probably it's just a trigger-happy individual, this untouchable cop. He produced a pistol and threatened to shoot Ngwaya. And more, if he continued to expose his workmates, including Shambare, Munonga, Superintendent Nyaradzai, Majachani, and Shepherd Tachiwon. Akataura, if you continue to expose my workmates, Mdara Shambare, Munonga, na Superintendent Nyaradzai, Majachani, na Mdara Shepherd Tachiwon, I'm going to shoot you. So 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 produced a pistol and threatened to shoot Ngwaya. Members of the public, this spectacular event was captured by members of the public in photographs and videos. And the videos there of the incident, this Ngwaya 𝗏𝗫𝗂𝗶𝗂𝗏𝗶 and which were later played before High Court Judge Justice Charles Wungwe, who freed Ngwaya a day after the attack. When he initially appeared before the court, vendors stormed Mbare Court waving placards criticizing 𝗨𝗫𝗁𝗍𝗁's brutality. So this gentleman who has shot and killed soldiers, he was criticized of being a brutal cop, untouchable cop, brutal cop, the blue-eyed G40 cop. So Joseph 𝗨𝗫𝗁, on Monday, the same cop who produced a pistol threatening to kill Ngwaya, on Monday, 6th of December, this gentleman killed 3 gunmen holding his family hostage. So my main concern is about the type of pistol that this gentleman had. Staying with that pistol in his house, retrieving it anytime this trigger-happy ex-policeman feels like, and quickly use it to kill certain people. The circumstances that occurred on Monday are as follows. 𝗨𝗫𝗁 left home around 6 p.m. Maneru, and went to 𝗏𝗵𝗂𝗃𝗃 when his son, Anonzi Courage, called to say there were people attempting to break into the house. This call was received around 8:30 p.m. Iyakangabva pamba na 6 p.m. 2.5 hours later, he received a call from his son, mentioned or stated as Courage, to say, Mdara, there are people trying to break into the house. So 𝗨𝗫𝗁, who is now a lawyer, he raced home, took on the thugs in a gun battle, and ended with the 3 of the raiders dead. The robbers were left, those who left, or those who managed to escape the shooting, they left the premise with US $850, a laptop, a mobile phone, and a shotgun. Saka 𝗨𝗫𝗁 vanga vane pfuti, ndofunga vane pfuti dzakawanda mufesu, because ava vakatiza vakatakura shotgun. Paripoti yemapurisa patataura paya, mapurisa vari kuti vakarikavha a pistol ipapo, but vakatakura shotgun mafesa. Ndoda kuti munyatsonzwisisa, this case does not add up. And there are members here of the force who are trying as well to look into the scenario here. So let's hear the video. If you are involved in such type of incidents, stop, don't quickly rush into giving a statement to the police. Calm down. So this is what this gentleman said. I'm going to play, it's a video. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the graphic. It is on a graphic content, which some people might saw it. Some people might not, Vaneka light heart might not happy to watch this. So I'm going to play this video.
Okay. Yes. From that other guy.
Yes, from that other
guy.
Yes, he took it.
Okay.
I
shot him right in the head.
Yes.
One shot.
One shot.
One shot in the head. He fell down. Then that one, Makuruwan then sent my son, one of my sons, to go and fetch one of their guns which had fallen down here. My son went and took the gun. He gave them. So possibly he thought I was going to shoot the moment my son comes out.
Okay.
Yes, but then I was very patient.
You were very patient.
Then
You know what you were doing.
Makuruwan in bruise
Right.
came out and shot him and he fell down. So inside you have to
So, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard this gentleman talking here, 𝗍𝗵𝗶𝗀. He said, the other gentleman, the second, he shot the first person, and he shot the second person, one round Msoro, and he shot Makuruwana. And he said, Makuruwana sent my son to go and take rifle, aka rifle, and this other gentleman. Could amupe. Then he shot Makuruwana. You can hear the account. It's like a film style. Let me play it again. 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗀. Sorry. Ndanda bisa volume.
He's the one who was holding an AK-47. This one, he's the one who was holding an AK-47.
So the first person he shot, he's saying was the one who was holding an AK-47 rifle. The first person, the first board, which he identified, saying this gentleman was holding.
Yes, I exchanged gunfire with him first. I shot him. He fell down. This guy who is the second one who is lying here, he took the AK-47.
Okay.
Yes.
From that other guy.
Yes, from that
Wow,
other.
with the arrow.
Yes, he took it.
So the second gentleman, he is saying, Paganot uyaro. This guy akabatora AK assault rifle uyanga afa. Do batora dan daga bandarwa Msoro, diaga barwa Msoro. Dautumbaterere, tererai.
I shot him right.
That other guy.
Yes, from that
Wow,
other.
with the arrow.
Yes.
Paganot arrow.
Okay.
I shot him right in the head.
Yes.
And atora put daga bandarwa right Msoro, one bullet. Ajiba.
Then that one, Makuruwan then sent my son, one of my sons, to go and fetch one of their guns which had fallen down here. My son went and took the gun. He gave them. So possibly he thought I was going to shoot the moment my son comes out.
Okay.
Yes, but then I was very patient.
You were very patient.
Then
You know what you were doing.
Makuruwan in bruise
Right.
came out and shot him and he fell down. So inside you have to
So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. The first guy waga pfura angane AK assault rifle. Hanzi bandaka mfura achidona nobva the second guy nobva adonza AK iyaye. Nobva namurwa one round achibva adona AK nobva yadona. Uyu Makuruwana nobva ataurira mwana wake courage kuti iwewe enda unotora pfuti undipe. Saka anotora pfuti achipa Makuruwana. Makuruwana achibva arohwa futi achibva afa. Saka these three guys vari kuexchange one AK assault rifle. They vari kuexchange. That means all of them were not vanga vari armed probably ne one AK vakomana vari 3. So the other two Makuruwana hana kuvaona apa, they escaped. Right. So let's go to our analysis of this matter. So ndopanaka chitaura ndikati the way he spoke on this video, he was like implicating himself, because if you see Pakabachins, these people exchanged gunfire, but I did not hear there was exchange of gunfire anyway up. Aita kangona uyo baroa. What next uyo roa? What next uyo roa? This is a Rambo style of movie. So we call detective our Zimbabwe Rambo. So this is where I was saying, if there is such an incident that occurs, take a step back and evaluate. Don't vent your anger into this. Realize that this case would involve other people. And those other people will be interested as well. But so the process, he should have processed these emotions. Because obvious, I found Mbotanga a break. Onga needs a knowledge and thoughts of what he is going to say to the police. He should have given him enough break out of this matter before issuing such statements. Because we are going to we're going to analyze this whole situation, focusing on actionable steps. What this gentleman should have done. And what I'm saying here is, I will be looking into information at a forensic side point of view. And that side of point of view is not the final view that I can give as a forensic scientist, but it's something that will help those who are going to investigate this matter. So I'm going to analyze this situation. You have heard the press statement, which was released by police. I've read that. Then I've read another incident where this gentleman was once involved. 𝗫𝗫𝗲𝗏 akamburitsira pistol akati ukangotaura vanhu vangu chete vandofamba navo kwakukondinya kuvaexposa, I am going to shoot you. And this gentleman was arrested, taken before a magistrate court in Mbare. The magistrate court akaramba akati iyi nyaya handidi kuinzwa. Can you pass it on to another magistrate? So this is why I'm saying the whole scenario is not adding up here. As we continue, let's analyze the whole situation. Let's focus on actionable steps. I am going to do it in a manner, in a forensic manner, so that people can have a clear view how it could have occurred and what could have not occurred in this scenario. Let's realize, ladies and gentlemen, that it could have been a worse situation probably if police were called to come and attend. So let's do our best to look into the scenario. Let's pick out the learning points from this encounter. This is why I've come live now to say let's pick out the learning points from this encounter. And so you have heard the police press statement. You have heard the previous shenanigans of this Zimbabwe Rambo. So one alleged, let's start looking into this matter in an investigative way. If you were an investigator tasked to investigate such a misery, such a scenario, the first thing is you have realized that one of the robbers shot there. One and the other two robbers have been arrested. Let's wait and hear from the horse's mouth. Yes. This is something that we are going to talk about, Fungai. So what I'm saying here is, from an investigating point of view, you really understand that one alleged robber was a commando, a soldier. And probably he was the second to be shot, was a commando soldier. So let's assume, as far as I understand the commandos, my commando has my soldier now. It might take months before they confess, definitely. The commandos are not cheap material. The commandos are my soldier now. So this gentleman, this CID expert, He is trying to portray a picture that commando could not shoot him, could not even open fire, because already that commando wataura ndakamurova ne1 bullet, akanhonga pfuti yakanga apfurwa, akabva ndakabva ndamurova ne1 bullet. Andimuri kuona? So can we say this soldier or these soldiers, the commando, pane mucommando poya mu-ex-support unit mucommando ex-support unit nemwe muprivate weku-ZNA papane 3 trained people, 1 from the elite force of Zimbabwe, a commando, and 1 is a private in the army, and 1 is probably from the support unit, ndokunotrainwa ma-snipers support unit. Saka tine 3 well-trained guys against 1 mu-CID ane pistol. These guys were armed with 2 AK assault rifles according to the report. And we are saying with the 2 AK assault rifles, they even failed to open fire. They failed to open fire to try and repel the attacker. We are talking of a commando. Wokuti kana pfuti kana kuti pumba toziva action anda kutora nde and kana ndakubuda murumu mumba muno ndinobuda nepakati. Makommandos anobuda nepadhoo rakavharwa. Ndozvinda makommandos. Dhoo rakavharwa anobuda mucommando. Haasi ekutamba nawo, but remember room combat inoitwa nepolice. That's why taiva trainer SWAT kusupport. SWAT is only in police. Alright, Saka, I'm one of the luckiest people in Zimbabwe to have trained in SWAT at the room fighting. Maybe Vivian, maybe I'm talking from a point of view as a member of SWAT, because I'm a member of SWAT. I'm a trained SWATage. And I remember you, Dagudwan, were in the light and he was in the dark and he could see them. So, what Mkoma Emmanuel Nyachimbo, Mavamataura point, the Manachida. If you are shooting with a pistol in the dark, you are aiming, you want to shoot someone at a light, you were in dark, how do you tell that this is an accurate shot? Because you can never align those sides, rear sight and foresight, aligning them together to shoot someone straight on the head. You are uripanze, you are in the dark. That is another issue. I'm a trained SWAT, Dream SWATage, a fully trained member of the SWAT. My night shoots not to Arapan. Urukufura usiku ne pistol. You want to align. You want to snipe, align the 4 sights of a pistol. The rear sight and the foresight align with the target. How accurate is that? That you can hit straight in Msoro. Vamwasat vadzosera fire. Mune ma AK assault rifles too. But arimba room fighting. It seems like we have more unlicensed guns in Zimbabwe or Boko Haram to come with this. A lot, Cheng. Very true. So, point ya uzwana mkoma manu, ndo point imwe anachida kuzobvunza. Inini I'm trained SWAT. Ndiri muSWATage. Akakwana, akatrainwa zvakakwana. Room fighting ndo igona. But I'm thinking of someone ari outside panzi. Ari kupfura munhu ari palight. Hauna infrared light. Because infrared light, ndikakurova ne-infrared light, so ndopoenda apa ndoda kurova. Kana ndakurova pamhanza apa ndobva ndamuisa infrared light rangu pamhanza ndokutsemura. Andawana. Hapana futi yamaona yaya Stribog haina infrared light. And that was the pistol he used to accurately aim at someone's head. 1 bullet and akabvarwa musoro munhu achibvarwa pasi. And Angabagurua the other. He could have shot the first gentleman. But the second gentleman, uri wani we une pistol. Uri kuti bow. vari 3 vachidona. These are trained soldiers. One of them is from the elite force yecommando. Tikati mucommando akatadza kutora action iri paakaona this gentleman achipfurwa achidona. Because this was papa nepfutika apa. One AK yakanga iri apa, so the other AK baby yakanga iri to the other side. And these people, they never thought of kuti panapa takupfurwa we've got ma hostages munomu. Ngatiuraye ma hostage atinawo. This is a hostage situation. Ini ndakatrainwa into an anti-hostage situation. Ndakatrainwa how to storm ma buildings akaita sewayo anenge atorwa vanhu vaitwa hostage. Inini I'm trained to storm into those buildings. I'm trained to do my room searches. I'm trained to deal armed combat, to deal with corridor fighting and so forth. But I am looking at boss kana one AK assault rifle. Kuti utene area dzakara sedziadzi dzinonetsa. Unenge wakutochinja into na stribog, mana use SMG, wakushandisa nema CZ pistols, nema other pistols. You can ndosaka uchiona munhu anonzi SWAT anofamba ne different type of foot. Yekuti ndikaona kuti panapa ndofuna kufamba ne foot 3. Ndofuna kufamba ne pistol, ndofamba ne AK assault rifle, ndofamba ne 𝗖𝗹𝗲𝗿. Yandomeka sure panapa pashata panapa. Apachadi AK, takuda close quarter battle or takuda corridor fighting pano. Ndakutobvisa barrel, ndakusaka barrel kadiki pa 𝗖𝗹𝗲𝗿. Ndakutokondinya kurova hondo. Saka kana uri a trained man, my instincts zvinongouya uri muscenario, uri musituation. Andimurikona. But I'm thinking where these robbers with the 2 AK assault rifles plus pistol ne shotgun foot yemfesu, they failed to deal nemunhu one. Irafiri mukama face apa hapana reality. Rafiri muratakutaura pana runzir ekta hafi ndo zvakutaura izvi. So this case to me, it does not make sense as a robbery for various reasons that I've stated, all of which are unacceptable if justice is need to be served. I don't want to lie. This is what I feel. This is my opinion on this matter. The case does not make sense as a robbery. It doesn't make sense as a robbery. And I've stated most of these the various reasons that I've stated here. I'm looking at one soldier as a commando. One is a private in the army, probably has been to battles in Congo and so forth. I'm looking at one is a member of the support unit, well-trained member of the support unit. And these guys, can we say they can't shoot? Fire is coming from that side. And this guy said they exchanged the fire. They exchanged. Let's talk about the case about exchanging of fire. An AK assault rifle being fired from inside the house. Exchanging fire nemunhu ane pistol dead. Kana makamboza inonzi 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗍𝗏. Yekuti ini ndotaurira bhururu wangu kuti ini ndakunotora pfuti yadona. Iwewe engage the target. Ndokurubva nepfuti kawo. Iwe engage ikoko. So that munhu ane kapistol uyo haachakwanisi kana kusimuka kana sei. Andotora cover chete ndonodrega pfuti. Andinoona. Fire and maneuver. Kana ndoda kukavwa, unondipa covering fire, ndipo covering fire. Pfuti yedu yaingasara apo, ndo pfuti yatikurilaya nayo. Ione imwe AK assault rifle. Can you give me covering fire? Nditore pfuti iri apo. Saka uyano ngakuita sort of like kubaravaza apa. Kuti pasawana anosimuka kana ane pfuti kana ndasei inongonotora pfuti. Andiona. Because if you look at the angle these people were shot, they were shot from the same angle. Look at the scenario. It's unfortunate that I can't play the scenario because of its graphics. But if I played it, I could have shown you that these guys were hit from the same Same angle. Vachirohwa neStribog. And to me, this case does not make sense as a robbery case for various reasons. And a lot of trained people would agree with me. So looking also from a forensic point of view, the reasons, all of which are unacceptable if justice has to be served. Because such cases, they will require also the background of the person who shot these 3 people. The background, like the one that I've read to you, a background where even magistrates refuse or recuse themselves. Tsvagai magistrate anomutonga. Uyu akatoburitsa pfuta achiudza musiyaiwo kuti uri kangoexposa. Ningi, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to kill you. So a lot of human rights abuses cases are following this gentleman who has shot and killed. So I'm not going to talk about the issue of Firearms Act, the issue of the license, firearms license. This gentleman, angane 42. One is a shotgun and one is a Stribog. Stribog is 40. I don't think vanhu vanobvumirwa kuchengeta Stribog mumba if you are not a member of the force. And we are talking of a retired detective who still keeps a Stribog pistol in his house. This is not the type of pistol that can be allowed on a license. I'm not sure I need to be helped on this issue because I don't know much about firearms licenses. But for someone, AK, you will never get a license to keep an AK mbamako. In Zimbabwe, that will never happen. And sanamboona muna ne firearms act yekuchengeta AK. Vanhu vandinoona muZimbabwe vane license vazhinji vane nema .22, ma 303 nezvima shotgun. Ndo vane licenses andaiona nema pistols pamwe. But not kuti munhu anopuwa license rekuti chengeta AK mumba mako, chengeta pfuta yakaita like a Stribog mumba mako. A Stribog is as good as Uzi SMG, a very powerful pistol. We call it pistol, but some people, I know my rifling Zai, but this is why they call it pistol. And I saw the rifle, they call it a pistol. So in Zimbabwe, main crime scenes, ladies and gentlemen, investigations have been done, evidence was collected. Instead of critically thinking about what they were seeing at a scene and pay close detailed attention to possible explanation, this is what should our detective should have considered. Critical thinking about what he is seeing at the crime scene, evidence collected from the crime scene, and the possible explanation that we are giving here. A good example, this gentleman akanga in the dark, I have a Stribog pistol which he accurately roll amsoro. But how do you align sights? I'm thinking of someone. I'm one of the experienced firearm users. I'm thinking that I've got a CZ pistol or an Uzi SMG or this Stribog. It has got sights. For you, ukalaina kumashure usina kualaina kumberi. It's either unorowa pasi kana ucharowa mudenga. Saka unofana kualaina masights ako uchirova target. Kuti urove accurately, you need to align rear sights and foresight together so that you can hit the target accurately. And we are looking at someone in the dark who is hitting his targets from outside in the dark. And he is saying there was exchange of gunfire and on. So the possible explanations on this scenario will probably make you think that this was not a robbery. Because these people had AK assault rifles, had everything. They were holding another family at ransom inside. They never did anything to these people. They were holding ransom yet. Because kana iri hostage, vanotokuudza kuti ground arms shamwari. Ukaramba uchiridza pfuti yetu kupfura mwana wako tokupfura mukadzi wako. So we are looking at a situation where people were held hostage. And this lone fighter, without assistance of the Zimbabwe Republic Police, without assistance of army or anyone, engaging 5 armed bandits, ari one, and a pistol, that raises a lot of eyebrows. So the shooting occurred within a building or a residence. Projectiles in this, they struck the walls. Both ukatarisa, mabara airowa mudhuri akarowa mudziyo. Ava vari mukati ava kana vairidza pfuti vachiita exchange of gunfire, that should have damaged a lot of windows or should have damaged even doors, because there was exchange of gunfire. But if you look at the scenario, the video that we saw, you can tell that bullets entered a window. And now bonana imwe damage and aona yataratidzwa even a door or anything. But my bullets aipinda nepa window. Panenge papinda my bullets and aona pa video, there were like 3 or so bullets. And in the morning. So, but these bullets, airowa madziro ukatasa mumba, mairowa madziro kuratidza kuti mabullets aya airowa mumba umu aibva panze. Mabullets emukati airowa akabuda nepapi. Ndopa bandoda kubvunza. Handina kuona any other damage on the doors or anywhere. The damage could probably be there, but I did not see it on the video. But there was exchange of gunfire. Obvious, if these people were firing AK assault rifle, it could have damaged the doors, it could have damaged the windows as well. But I did not see any damage from inside. And that damage could be there, but I did not see it. Ndakanzwa achiexplain kuti airidza nepa window. Achiridza mubedroom kuti ndibaburitse, akazotenderera akauya akapfura vakanga vari mucorridor. He said I did it to confuse them. And there was exchange of gunfire. So exchange of gunfire must show the damage as well from inside. Bullet parinopinda from inside, you can tell that bara rakabva mukati, iri bara rakabva kunze. Ukatarisa mudhuri, madziro anga ane maburi emabara. Kuratidza kuti mabara aya probably ndo airohwa achibva panze. Tinomboona emukati pakati ka exchange of gunfire here. So we want to see emukati. And these robbers, when they saw other people, their colleagues shot dead, they never thought of harming his family, which was still inside the room, the house. Otherwise, this does not make sense as a robbery, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to lie. To me, this does not make sense as a robbery. These are some of the reasons that I've considered. If there was exchange of fire, those who were inside, firing outside, at least we could have seen damage. Yempamba ipapa, yemador, window akawanda. Because by an exchange of gunfire kapa, apasiri pekuti unoverenga nyere kana kuchengetedza nyere. Kuti uyo what debu omira, uyo debu omira. An exchange of gunfire. And that exchange of gunfire did not even attract the police. Police did not come. Apana patanzwa kuti mapurisa akauya or masoja akauya bosi pakuridzwa pfuta apana. Andidi manzo. So sometimes if you pay close detailed attention to what this gentleman said, you can come up with a possible explanation of what could have happened on this shooting day. And this shooting happened at a residence. And others were said to be firing from inside the house. Therefore, bullet interaction with the war here, it deserves a special attention. Your special attention should also focus to the damage that were caused by the bullets from inside, which we were never shown. There could be damage from inside, but I did not see it. And so the striking marks and the perforated walls that you saw could have been made by someone firing from outside. And that determines the direction of fire for the associated shots, the direction of fire. Kana moto waibuda uchibva nepa window, obvious mudhuri unorohwa. Kana ndichiridza pfuti androve mudhuri uyu kana ndiri munomba, ndorova window anoparara, ndorova madoor anoparara, because I'm firing from outside. Someone firing at us is firing from outside. So when I'm returning fire, I'll fire from inside the room, ndichirova panzi. But this gentleman with a pistol against an AK assault rifle, he managed to clearly took 3 people down, 2 soldiers, probably a civilian, and the man. So the associated tracks and the tracks or path of the bullets, especially those from inside the house, they could have done an extensive damage. Urukurova don AK, usukurova ne pistol, ukurova AK assault rifle dead. They would probably, because one of you is dead, and the second man is dead. The third man is dead. Ava vari 3 ava havana kuwana mukana wekuexchange fire as far as the explanation is concerned. Akati ndakaona uyo ndobva narova achidonha, uyu ndobva aura kuti uyo apfurwa adonha akunodhonza pfuti, ndobva narova musoro. Makuru wana ndobva ada kuti atuma mwana wangu kuti ndinotora pfuti, amene makuru wana akazopfurwa papo. Handipana pandanzwa achitaura kuti wokutanga akaridza, wechipiri akatora akaridza, wechitatu akaridza. Ndaikonzwa iye achitaura ndakarova uyu, ndikarova musoro uyo, ndikanorova makuru wana. And the other vakanga va escape, or they were escaping. They escaped through a bedroom. So let's say here, let's be clear, gentlemen, here. Listeners must understand this general explanation that I'm giving. I've spoken about the track or the path of bullets. I've spoken about the perforated walls, bullets striking the walls. But that is the behavior bullets kana achinge aridzwa, especially from the inside. Uchirova nepa window, uchirova mudhuri. Ko vari mukati, damage yavo yakamira sei? Bullets can ricochet. Because obviously hakuna bullet. Ariko regai nditi hakuna. Ndikati hakuna will be misleading. We have got different type of bullets that are made in this world. Mudhuri uyu unoboorwa nebara. Bara rinopinda roboora mudhuri. Aripo mabara anoboora mudhuri. Kune mabara acho anorova mudhuri uchiboka. Ndosaka uchiona kana ukakwira puma, ukatarisa bhodhi yepuma kuti yakakora sei, kana ndi bulletproof croco motors aya kuti akakora sei window racho. But kune mabara anorova achiboora paya. Azvireva kuti haako ariko mabara acho. But anenge ane high caliber, high muzzle velocity weapons, which can hit the wall achiboora. But I'm looking at bara rikubuda pa stribble. Bara iroro baba ribore mduri. Rinorova mduri and it doesn't lodge on the wall. It ricochet. Or rinogona to bam richidzoka. Rinogona kukonzera any other damages as well. And it on. So the sort of damage that I've seen on the video on the walls are bullets which were fired from outside. I did not see a suggestive mark that could have been fired from the people who were inside. Probably those guys were never given chance to fire back. But he said there was exchange of gunfire. So projectiles will be stopped, especially by the war without penetrating the war. Mabara no ricochet and so forth. But damage from inside, and nakuiona. So the location of expanded cartridge is something that I need to talk about. Where if you watch the video where these bodies are strewn one up, corridor like, I did not see the expanded cartridges. Zvikasha zvenyere or casings acho, I did not see them. I did not see, if someone, I might be wrong, someone could have seen them. Because those bodies were yet collected. They were still there. And the casings must have been there. If those 3 gentlemen who were shot, if they had exchanged the fire with the gentleman as he is stating, we could have seen expanded cartridge casings there. This could have even established his assertion that the people or the shooters or the robbers exchanged the fire with him. So it may also be possible to determine whether those guys fired back. The empty cartridges, the AK mumbamuya dzaigona idzo kupa direction or kuratidza kuti did these guys fire back or did they discharge their firearms as this gentleman is stating. So there are quite a lot of issues that can be highlighted here. The information that I'm giving is something that can assist investigating officers. If these people exchange the fire from inside that house, they could have seen spent cartridge casings to show that one of them probably had opened fire in exchange to what was happening during that time. And in the morning. So it is very important, ladies and gentlemen, especially avenues. First thought, the problem here is the avenues. First thought to be unimportant may become the main crux of the investigation. Because whatever I'm talking about here could lead into something else that people never thought of. Because I am touching information which is crucial, perhaps when considering investigating this matter for the purposes of justice. And on. Because panotanga kurira pfuti, the adrenaline is pumped, and the excitement of assembling, or the excitement, or panotanga excitement, you need to fire back. Pangotanga kuridza pfuti. And imona. Saka you find that such events, unogona kuona pane scattered casings aripo, which is a rewarding or intellectually satisfying to an investigator. You understand? So this is why I am saying, ladies and gentlemen, that probably what he thought is unimportant in this matter could be the crux of the investigation. Because there is another explanation that was given. The explanation reads, ex-detective shot colleagues. Ndosaka murikona ndataura ndikati ngati tarisei critically this incident. This gentleman aichengeta pfuti 2. Aive ne pistol yanataura iyi. Aive ne shotgun mumba make. We don't know whether all these guns are licensed. But according to vanomziva, this gentleman himself is not a clean gentleman. He is more of a thug himself. Saka these people he shot were his colleagues. So it has come to the light that the ex-detective 𝗍𝗵𝗯, who shot 3 suspected robbers, did so after a misunderstanding with his colleagues. ndosaka ndati pangwarirei ipapo, because this gentleman was phoned ari kuchisipiti akanzi kuno pane vanhu vanoda kutoya kubreka muno mumba. He did not inform the police that there were intruders armed at his house. He did not inform them. He just took his 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 pistol and drove straight home to deal with people armed with AK assault rifles. I know mamusingatarisira kuti ndosvika at that point. I'm just giving you I'm just opening or giving you an alternative explanation of this matter. But people are saying the gentlemen he killed were his colleagues. This is why you see it was easy for him to eliminate them. And they were not hiding. They were not hiding, these people were not hiding. And how did they know that this gentleman has got money in his house? Ane mari munhu vakaziva sei kumba kwemunhu kune mari. Saka these people could have been his colleagues. If you look at the way he gunned them down, these people never expected that they would be gunned down by their colleague. This is why probably the issue about exchanging gunfire has never happened. Because the way he shot them, it's not a way. Those guys were shot in the corridor. That someone had to stand and aim at them and they start firing at them, killing them. Uyo pamwe vakati hatakutopfurwa pano nemufesi wedu. Akabata bata AK achibva apfurwa. Uyo akaruma shure achibva apfurwa. Saka the other two vakatoona kuti hatakutopfurwa ndobva vatiza. So the issue about exchanging gunfire here could be a way of trying to be like a Zimbabwe Rambo. So people are saying these robbers are his colleagues. And there was a misunderstanding with his colleagues that has led to him shooting and killing them. Andimona. Because 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was one of the masterminds of the ZB robbery that occurred this year, where 2.8 million US dollars was stolen. We are looking at that property. Imba yake iyaiya, considering mari dzaiworwa nemapurisa muZimbabwe. Kuti mari yekuaka imba yakaita seiyaiya, mupurisa akaiwanepi. We are looking at a policeman, a former policeman. Upenyu hwake hwese kana uri mupurisa, you can hardly earn 250,000 in 20 years as a policeman. You can't. Pane munhu ari kubvunza kuti end live tuye baba. Live iripo ameno, I can't answer him. So what I'm saying is, considering how much a police officer earns, looking at the property that he has, because haana kusiya basa kudhara kana 2017 anga aripo kana 2017 anga aripo ari mupurisa, but 2017 18 19 20 basa akasiya manje manje mfeso. So this is why people are saying these are his colleagues that he shot. So I am looking at a scenario where this gentleman is shot dead, and that one tried to grab the weapon and shot dead, and the third one shot dead. The other two escaped without even firing at him. So people are saying this gentleman was one of the mastermind who masterminded the 2.8 ZB bank stolen money. Among those shot at 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's house are 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is a member of the commando. So we cannot say a soldier from commando failed to react and deal with a lone gunman who was firing at them, who saw his colleague shot down. and he failed to act semukomando akatrainwa. Mamune musupport unit nemusoja vakanga varimo futi. They all failed to deal a lone gunman with a pistol. Ari munhu akanga ane a pistol avanga wane ma AK. They failed to deal with this gentleman. Ndosaka ndati, let's hope there is more to this scenario than what the eye can see. So if you look at some sources who have analyzed this issue again, they are saying 𝗍𝗵𝗶 has been in custody of the greater part of the loot, as he had promised to keep it safe. His colleagues had been demanding their shares for months, but he had been telling them stories. Because chinoitika muZimbabwe pakaitika armed robbery pano, pachinzi pabiwa mari ma-US dollars. Mari dziya kunyangwe ukatanga kudzishandisa kudziisa mumarket, dzinotanga kuoneka kuti mari iye yakushanda. So this gentleman probably offered to komana, at the moment we cannot use mari, ngatimboichengetai tozoishandisa vanhu vamboita sei vakangano. Saka mafesi avaida mari vakuti ayo bro ngatigowanei mari, mufesi akujamuka nemari. So this is why these guys had been shot. And it because honestly, let's assume that these guys held his family hostage, and he shot and killed 3, whilst 2 other, a soldier and a police officer, were watching. They didn't do anything to any of his kids, didn't do anything to any of his wife. Nothing happened to his family. If they were true people holding him hostage, this is why I will set the house on fire. Quite a lot of things will happen. Pandro fewer, pafa 2-3 vage vanotofawo. And it is also puzzling why he never alerted the police. Ndambotaura ini ndikati pana apa pane mukomando, pane mupurisa, pane musoja, well trained people. Vapinda mumba for a robbery, vasvika vachiona ma family members aripo. The first thing a robber does, kudimbura phone. Kana une cell phone anokutorera, andokuti at gunpoint, ndipe phone yako, unza phone. No, the first thing chinotorwa nema robbers, because they don't want you to communicate with outside world. So what they do first is it's the way they operate. They take all the phones first. If there is a landline vanodimbura, that means imimi hamusina any other communication with the outside world. But we are looking at a situation where the children phoned the father, and the father never alerted the police. The father drove straight home and killed 3, and 2 of them escaped. The escapees, the ones who escaped, are a policeman, a former policeman from support unit, a specialist in weapons as well, and a soldier. They failed to deal with him at one. Unaziva kuti volume of fire, if you are a trained man, you can tell that volume of fire is coming from one source, or is coming from 2 sources. Because you don't know what is happening outside. It's dark. You don't know how many people are outside. And we are looking at 5 people, 5 robbers. Vakatadza kusiya one of their colleagues guarding them outside, whilst others are inside robbing or stealing. Marobas akapusa kuti ekomando akapusa kuita sei kuti vanonopinda vese pitipiti mumba. Anditi maona. So a lot of things does not add up here. Kuti 5 robbers vane ma AKs vanotadza kusiya 1 munhu ari panze achirobha. And manzwa kuti inguvai I think nyaya yakatika kana ma 6 7 8 o'clock achizomanya kuma 8 I think vanhu vakasvika before 8. They took probably an hour vari mupremise imomo vachituda mari, tuda mafoni, tuda mari, tuda chii, tuda laptop, tuda chii. And this gentleman received a phone and failed to alert the police. He went to deal with 5 armed robbers at one with a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 pistol. That to a trained man, that cannot add up to a robbery. A proper investigation and a re-interview of this gentleman never batwa ava panobuda nyaya vakomana, because according to vanhu vari kutaura vari kuti Blazi uyu nemaise was the mastermind weFB bank robbery. Mari dzakatorwa ndiye akachengeta. Saka vakomana vati ngatigowane yakujamuka. So what happened is there was a threat to eliminate his people if they exposed him. So upon realizing that the 3 were threatening to expose him, he resorted to elimination. So this is probably another explanation of whatever happened on this day. So the sequence of events, as I've mentioned, to his narration, they don't add up. Shows that it is a cooked up story. This is a cooked up story. The true story chabuda was iwawo imbozvifunga 5 armed robbers vatadza kusiya 1 munhu a sentry outside kana unzwa kana kuhondo chako muchienda kuhondo. Even nyangwe pakembi makakemba panapa hamumbopindi masoja mese monopinda morara mukembi muchitadza kusiya ma-sentry duties. So there was no evidence. These are trained people who know about sentries. There was no sentry to alert others with danger outside Lalei. Guys, inini, this story doesn't add up. I know. I'm sorry to say this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very sorry to say this. So someone can help me analyze this issue, because I'm looking at this detective. How can he shoot 3 people from a different... I can't say it's vantage point, but if you look at those dead bodies, vakafa corridor like mumwe pano, mumwe apo, mumwe apo. That means these guys were gunned down at the same time. Zvekuti ndakazorova uya akadona. Uyaitadza kutiza aona kuti uya apfurwa adona pakurira pfuti. Honestly, you can't hide pakurira pfuti panapa. You can't hide. You can't find a way to hide yourself. These are experienced robbers ka. Pane masoja apa, pane makomando apa, pane mapurisa apa. Nokuti inini chaiye ndikazoputa go panapa. Ndinotora cover ndotanga ku identify where's the fire coming from. And more. So how could he kill all those guys? Where you cannot have proper sight alignment, foresight and rear sight alignment. You can't properly aim unless if you've got an infrared weapon where a light is shown per man's up a moon. But you are outside where it is dark and you've got a proper alignment of sights, killing this or that. So it's not a the way his narration of events can only be said in a civilian. Munasatari za pfuti. Because mcivilian anofuata ngangonongedza pfuti kudai ndatokuema ndatokurova. Ndokona kunongedza ifuwa ndakakunongedza. Pandisina kuema ndikaridza pfuti yotoenda ndisina kukupfura. So what I need to do, varipo havo vamwe vanhu vasikagone kuclose one eye when they are firing. Varipo who can accurately shoot with both eyes open. ndakavaona vanhu vakadaro. They are there, but rarely. If you want to fire at someone, you cannot open all of your eyes uchiridza pfuti uchirova accurately. Unenge waRambo ndezvemufirimu zviya. Pfuti maziro andakaita, kutrenwa kwandakaita nekudzidzisa kwandakaita vanhu ndewekuti ukasvinura kudai zvakafanana nechigunu. Imbozviita uri kumba, ndimbokudzidzisai zvandaidzidzisa vafana. Zvite wakagara kumba. Tora kana chigubhu chekilemu chacha cheros wochigadzika apo, unochigadzika apo. Wachigadzika apo, wochinongedza kudai, wakasvinura maziso ako kudai. Wachinongedza wakasvinura maziso ako esa 2, wovhara 1 ziso. Wona runenge wakachinongedza here. Wozovhara rimwe. Wona runenge wakachinongedza here. No principle of sight alignment yatoshandisa pachivanhu iri simple. Yekuti nongedza chinhu chiri chigubhu kana kutora chigubhu 𝗨𝗁𝗁𝗏 cheuchigadzika. Wochinongedza nechigumwe kudai. Wotsinzinya 1 ziso kudai. Wozotsinzinya the other. You won't be pointing at the same place. No. Saka kana takuita inonzi zeroing of weapons here. Unoshandisa 1 ziso. You close 1. Vamwe vari left-handed, vamwe vari right-handed. It depends on what you are. Kana uri left-handed, unototsinzinya rekubi, iri reku-right, woshandisa reku-left, woaligna. Kana uri right-handed, wotodzima iri 1 iri. Wosara vamwe taitonama vasingagone kutsinzinya vaya. Taitotora something tovhara kudai. Tomunama. Totichiona neroziso 1. Zero wapfuti yako neziso rako iroro. Next time ukabata pfuti yako ukangotsinzinya kudai ukalina, unenge uchirowapo wakaema. Anditi maona. Saka you find nyaya dzandikutaura idzi kuti dziri difficult if you are a civilian. You don't understand much of what I'm saying. But saka ndiri kubvunza kuti shooting 3 people whilst you are outside in the dark, you are probably the best marksman in the world. You are probably the best marksman in the world. Killing those 3 guys whilst you are outside where it's dark, aiming, aligning 4 sides, rear and front, a foresight and a rear sight, aligning them together to give you an accurate shot to kill someone inside. Adedi unenge uri the best marksman, best chai. Because kana uri panze pai dedi une vanhu vane ma-AK vari mumba umu, hauna time yekutombodai. Ibva bam bam. Anditi kwete zvoti tombodai wosnipe woti mwa womira, woti next mwa womira, wozoti third one mwa womira. Ivo vakamira kurohwa newe uchirohwa uchiuraya. Warohwa uyadonha haya, warohwa uyadonha. You know that there was exchange of gunfire. That narration can only be bought nema-civilians vasingazive mutsindo we-AK dedi kana ichinge yaridzwa yakananga kwauri. Andimona. So how can bandits just die like that? How can bandits just get injured like that? The kids and wife are inside that house. You are talking of bandits. You are killing bandits. They are dying inside the house. You are shooting them. They have got your family there. They have got your wife there. They are not doing anything to them. And later on they escape without even harming any of your family members. This does not add up. Because if you look at the house itself, it seemed like the house was empty. And this gentleman did not call the police. Did not call the police. There was no warning fire, warning shots. He just went on to nama straight those bandits whilst they were holding his children and the wife inside the house. And he did not raise any alarm. vanhu vanoziva 𝗏𝗏𝗵 ndosaka achitaura kuti those people who knows 𝗏𝗏𝗵, it's an area where former CIOs or CIOs, government officials, masoja, machef nechief vakavaka kuChadcom. And the area yekuti futi kangozi pai mapurisa andoreacta chop. Imagine, the gentleman did not alert the police. He did not fire a warning shot. He just went straight to Nama. And on. You can hardly move in that area without security details noticing. I am not saying anything here, but I guess there is more to this story, ladies and gentlemen. And on. Officer vangavambobvunzwa futi. Vanda kumbobvunzwa. We could be glorifying another hitman here. Another hitman come thief. Because nyaya dzaakubuda dzekuti ndiye akamasterminda yenhingirikini yeFB bank. Saka munogona kuti is a hero, is a what. We understand the AKs involved were jute weapons. Ko yake futi yakanga iri jute weapon here. And I've spoken about close quarter battle here. Nenyere dzanga nemagazini mangani. Aiti ndakamhanya ndikanyorwa 3 shots uku. Kamhanya ndikanyorwa dzimwe 2 shots uku. Ndikazodzoka. Ngativerenge nyere dzanga anadzo. Because obvious pamabhandita akauraya ari 3. Hapana wakarwa ne1 shot probably 1. Vamwe vaingonama pamwe 2-3 shots pamwe chi. And nedzimwe dzairidza ari kuseri kubedroom achiridza kuya kuya. Aive nemamagazini mangani. Aive nenyere ngani. Ameno kana kuna vanhu vanoziva stribok pistol kuti magazini yacho ine magazine capacity yechii when it is fully loaded. And on. Because the way I understand my gunfights are gunfire. Suspect shooting back at you. And on. This instills a degree of misery. If you look at the why I say it instills a degree of misery, look inside that house. Look where those bodies were lying. You can never see. I did not see my spent cartridges. But you know, especially AK, it's an automatic rifle. AK is an automatic rifle. You can put it per same auto. You can put it per full automatic. And you can, if you put that selector or safety any AK far down, you are putting it on same auto. If you put it on the center, you are putting it on automatic. If you put it up, it is safe. So, about the selector far down, could make sure that you have put it on semi-automatic. So you can convert an AK assault rifle into automatic and semi-automatic rifle. So if you put the selector far down, you have put it on semi-automatic. That means ndiwe unenge wakudetermine kuenda kwenyere. Ukarowa 1 ombomira. Worowa next ombomira. Worowa imwe ombomira. Ukaisa at the middle, it's automatic and it's a waste of rounds kuisa pa shoulder. Kwangodai inobva iti brr yatopera. 30 rounds aenda. Saka the misery here is the scene of crime here, where the shooting incident occurred. Tanzwa kuti dzakwakanhongwa ma-empty cartridges. But if you look at them, I did not see them. And empty cartridges are ejected from the port. Anomumba kamemwe. Anorowa madziro achirikocheta. Saka anofana kuita strewn around those bodies. Because they were indoors. And the fighting was indoor. So what I'm saying here, a skilled marksman, using a high quality caliber, firing from outside in the dark, probably with an infrared, you can be accurate. But not good. One round while in the dark, one round achidona. A lot that needs to be explained. Officer one fana kumbo vunzwa foot. Ukatasa wana aka ma high velocity muzzle velocity weapons aya. Ma cartridges anokuda mema ano eject with power and it more. Saka anenga akutoda ma capabilities emunhu akaita senge a trained soldier, a commando, a trained policeman, a trained private in the army to use footage very effective. Vanhu vatiri kutaura who were involved in this suspect robbery, vanhu vakatrainwa who can use the firearm effectively, but who failed to shoot someone with a pistol. We are talking of a 9mm Striebog pistol. I'm just wondering how these guns are kept in the midst, in our midst. Muzimbabwe, we are looking at a lawyer, Panapa, an ex-detective in 𝗁𝗲𝗃, who keeps a Striebog. A Striebog is not for the benefit of those who just joined us. Let me show you this type of Striebog. Zvayakaita futi yacho haisi futi yekuti ingapuwa mucivilian, boss kana usisiri in the force tenge takuti you are a member of the civilian. Kana civilian kuti uone kochengeta futi dzehondo. This is a Striebog 9mm. This is the weapon that this gentleman was firing. This is the type of weapon that he used to kill these suspected robbers. This is a Striebog. And for this Striebog, for someone to be licensed to keep this Striebog, ameno, guys. And this is, I stand to be corrected here. Kuti ma license efuti mZimbabwe kuti uzopuwa license yekuchengeta Striebog. This is a Striebog. Ifuti yehondo iyi inoshandiswa nema specialist forces, vakaita sema commando, vakaita sema SWAT. Inini I'm a trained SWATege. Iyi ndo futi yacho iStriebog iyi. Kuti ingawanike pa civilian ere. Boss, for close quarter battle, per house clearance, this is the weapon that is used. Yakada kuenzana ne SMG, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Yakada kuenzana ne 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Striebog. And it's a very powerful weapon, very, very powerful weapon. It's 9mm like 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, but very powerful. So I'm wondering, could the members, civilian members, anopuwa license yeStriebog, munhu wa lawyer, the Striebog munhu wa lawyer, akoshe. Munhu wa lawyer, Striebog yopuwa munhu, yopuwa gweta. Saka ifamba nayo mumota. Exactly. Mkomata bvunzaiwo this question. This is why I am saying, guys, munhu aifamba neStriebog mumotikari. Kana vanhu vakutaura kuti akanga ari ndiye mastermind wemarobberies, vanhu moramba. Aifamba neStriebog, this type of weapon yakakura like a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Aigara nayo mumotikari. Ofonerwa nemwana wake unzi daddy kuno vanhu varikuda kubreaka in. Haachalete mapurisa, driver straight from 𝗏𝗵𝗏𝗏 to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. You know the distance from 𝗏𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏 to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. The congestion around that time, it can take you an hour. And So this guy had this weapon in his car. Ari a civilian achifamba nepfuti. Anoidi. He's no longer a detective. He's no longer a member of the police. He goes around with such a beast in the car. And in the morning. So it's food for thought. It's food. This is what we call a leather weapon. This weapon is leather. If put the hundreds, so shall swing my swattage. A man was around my swat. I'm a trained SWAT. I'm a trained SWAT. Ndikauz goes good scenario that not attend where I die. Notice vowed one of the weapons, stripbog I said. Pistol I see I said. No rifle one. It's either by my rifles no chooser. Could an assault one or a snipers. Out of this one, could anyone stare og? The most that I shall some 5.65 millimeter stare og. It's just yakada kufana stare og. But stare og, you know, shansa ma 5 point something millimeters near. You know, shansa ma 9 millimeter. This can cause maximum damage. You put your own way. Stribog, you put. Is a good I license for it. So we don't know how this gentleman came up to be licensed 𝗂𝗄𝗃, a member of the force anymore, keeping a stribog with him. Then receive a phone call from his son. We are under attack. He never alerted the police. That means this gentleman knew about his colleagues coming. He knew that all these guys. So what did he do? Just went there to eliminate them. Then frame with one of our marobas. I'm not going to marobas at 𝗁𝗵𝗶, but not to rob him. How did these guys know that this gentleman has got money? Because one of these guys is an ex-policeman. And and how did they know that there is money in that house? So if I'm in the UK, unganopaza yemba yemunhu uchiti uda kutora mari. Tane mari dzogara kubengi nogara nechiplastic chete munumba. No money. So how did these thieves know that there is $800-900 in that house? There's a laptop in that house. Mbava zingatakure ma AK-05 kunoba laptop dead. Something that doesn't ring. That doesn't make sense. How can 5 thieves, including 3 members of the force, raid a house to steal a laptop? I didn't want. So if you look at this type of weapon, it is a brand new carbine-style weapon. It features a dual mass bolt FUTIOI that significantly reduces recoiling of the weapon and improves overall controllability of the pistol. It has got a reduced recoil. My shotgun anenonzi back kick yekuti ikakurwa unodonha kuti boom unodonha negotsi. Iyi type yefuti haikudonhedze, you can't feel it kuti iri kuenda mberi here kana ndiri kudzoka kumashure, because ine reduced recoil system, because ine spring which recoils when you fire to cock it back. And you know, saka the recoil system is reduced. You don't feel the impact of this weapon. That means you can control it much better than an AK assault rifle. Because AK, because of that recoiling, you know, shaker. And for you to be accurate, the assault rifle, for you to be accurate, you need to control it via Simba. Saka this type of pistol, elevator chete kuti ungosta sight alignment uchirova target. You understand what I mean? Ndakazoseka ndakunzi nemwe sekuru wangu wazvikanzi, you are not a soldier, Shepherd. You are not a soldier. Ndikati handisi soldier, but ndo mazira anoita chinhu ichi. Otherwise ndotochiziva kupfuura masoja akawanda. Masoja chaiwo chaiwo vazhinji avaroerane neni chinhu ichi. ndochirwa zvekurwa zviya zvekamairovai futi andimona chinja ndozivisisa. Saka ukanzwa tichitaura isusu takutaura recoiling system masivhire naangazvinzwisisi. Controllability of the pistol. If you are look at chakada says 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, it's one. I think it is also part of the weapon. Yamunoona iri mubriefcase anotakurwa nemasiyayo vachimhanya na imaso vamwe vaita hasi mabriefcase emaraya varume ipfuti iri muya mune moto mabriefcase amuona achitenderera munangagwaya aiwa haisi mari moto uri muya muya otherwise handizoti mune moto werudzi nichatoti chinoti ipfuti dzedzi pamwe uda mastribog iwaya ari muya muya handiri maona. So if you look at the caliber of this weapon and akuratidza is 9mm and magazine capacity yacho is 30 rounds. Saka ipfute yekuti kana une magazine 1 unogona kutombonyatsoita mutambo wakanaka. And this is a semi-automatic pistol. It's not an automatic pistol. It's a semi-automatic pistol. That means it's a half automatic. Paipa unogona ukarova kana vachiti semi-automatic zvoreva kuti haisi automatic. Automatic ukakoka ukanongedzera target ukadzvanya trigger inongoramba ichirira ichiti that is an automatic rifle. Kana ya semi automatic ukakoka ukadzvanya trigger kuti boom unosiya wodzvanya futi wosiya wodzvanya futi wosiya ndozvazvoreva kusvika magazini yako yaempty. Kana vachiti semi automatic ndozvazvoreva chete. Hachisi chirungu chinoshamisa. Chirungu chinoreva kuti you cannot put it on full automatic kana ichinzi semi automatic. Haukoke katu pane chechinonzi 303 chechi hachisi automatic chinonzi 303 chimanual. Kune manual kwaya semi automatic kwaya automatic. Chipfuti chakada sechi 303 chachiya ukaridza round racho kuti boom achi eject unokoka wodzosera futi woti boom wo ejector wodzosera futi. That is manual. Kana ya semi automatic hapana paunokoka iwewe unoti ukaridza kuti boom inodzoka kuti yo ejector yega yokolekta rimwe round yonofidha muchemba yogarira kuti ucharidza futi. Woridza futi kuti boom yokoka yega yodzokera yega inenge iri pasemi automatic. Kana yakuenda pafull automatic chako yokubata trigger chete haucharegerere trigger iyoyo. Because pasemi automatic unoregerera ukaridza kuti boom inokoka yodzokera yega worelease trigger yako wodhonza futi woridza futi. But pa full automatic kungodzvanya ka 1 trigger yako dzinongobuda nyere dzega dzichienda. Handiri maona handisi kudzidzisa futi asi ndiri kuexplaina from as a forensic scientist firearms investigation atunoita. Saka you find kuti the caliber of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is 8mm. Magazine capacity is 30 rounds per magazine. And it is semi-automatic pistol. Is full automatic. And the Saka ine ma sides, my front and rear sides, you can flip them if you want. Saka unoto align front and rear sides to get an accurate shot if you want to shoot accurately. No saka manzo nandishiramba. Wanaka shepherd ari kuramba chi. Yes, the gentleman was outside. The gentleman was outside shooting from the dark. Without the proper alignment of front and rear sides, it will be very difficult for you unless referee to take an accurate shot from outside in the dark. So this probably explains the alternative explanation. Could this gentleman gunned down his friends? And with AK assault rifles, they could have easily returned fire. But I don't think these guys returned fire. And so if we look at the whole scenario, ladies and gentlemen, there are some failings that the Zimbabwe Republic Police is doing, particularly on part of forensic science. This is where the Zimbabwe Republic Police must start to be professionals, because as long as they investigate vachiita zvechikarabwino zvavari kuita izvi, nyaya dzemuzimbabwe dzinongopera dzakadaro. There is need for a complete overhaul of Zimbabwe Republic Police Forensic Department, so that experts can help them reconstruct certain shooting incidents. If we try to reconstruct this shooting incident, it qualifies an alternative explanation of this gentleman killing his colleagues, rather than killing rebels, rather than killing armed robbers who came, held your family hostage. You are given a call, you travel all the way from 𝗶𝘂𝗂𝗃𝗵 to 𝗁𝗃𝗵 without even informing the police that my family has been held hostage. You went there alone to deal with the people armed with the assault rifles whilst you had a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗃 pistol. That raises a lot of questions that needs to be answered by Zimbabwe Republic Police. There is no reliable reconstruction of these shooting incidents in our country. There is no proper forensic investigation. 𝗁𝗏 is immune to any form of critical scrutiny. So what I'm doing at the moment is a critical scrutiny of how 𝗁𝗏 works. I'm going to do it now. I am going to explain now why 𝗁𝗏 is a failed force in regard to forensic science. Because forensic science must allow them to reconstruct all these shooting incidents and come up with the proper investigations. But because it's not a force that listen, ndosaka ndati nhasi ndoda kuvapa kachikoro mbichana kekuti kana vachiteerera vanhu vezRP ngavambotora from what I'm saying, I'm telling them. Good, they need to learn. They are not immune to any form of critical scrutiny. Chinhu chinonzi forensic science chinhu chekuti vanhu vanoita neforensics, vanodhila neforensics, vane mastandards avanofanira kufollowa. Vafollowa those standards which are set up by certain bodies. There must be an independent board that is not run by 𝗁𝗏 in Zimbabwe, which set standards which are supposed to be followed by forensic scientists. You cannot call yourself forensic scientist if you can't reconstruct a shooting incident like the one, if you can't notice what I'm saying here and what I've said here. That there are suspicious loopholes in everything that this gentleman said, trying to be a Rambo in Zimbabwe. And his explanations do not add up. They give a hypothesis. Is it true or false? Could this gentleman was part of this gang he gunned down? Considering that there were commandos in it. There was a member of a former police officer in this. There was a private in the army. So probability of this gentleman killing all these people without them returning fire or injuring him or injuring his family, which was held hostage. He never even thought of involving the police to say, look, can you come and help me? My family is under siege. They've been held hostage with armed men. So he decided to go it alone and shot and killed those people he suspected to be robbers. So it raises a lot of questions. A lot of questions here that you guys should be considering. So if we look at the shooting incident reconstruction, it offers a thorough explanation of matters from simple to complex to help you guys understand the factors that are surrounding all these issues. Kana vakuenda ku forensic science, they talk about ballistics. Vanenge vakutaura trajectory, vakutaura all these shooting scenes. Kana zvakuda kuinvestigate. Kuti kana anga ari mumba, manzwa ndichitaura ndichiti, vakomana veballistics can be able to tell you kuti munhu akarova dhoo iri, akarova ari at which angle, anga akamira here, anga akarara here. Because this guy anga ane pistol ari panze, achipfura vanhu vari mukati. Vanhu vaitoona kuti bara rapinda nepapa, vane ma-AK, can they fire back nepapinda napo bara? Vomirira kuti this gunned down, that one gunned down, and that one gunned down. Votiza without even firing. Andiona. Saka, but a lot of questions than answers. So, forensic scientists, law enforcement agents, crime scene investigators. I can be a crime scene investigator. These people are often tasked with the reconstruction of events based on crime scene evidence. With what I've seen on that crime scene, atopinda face uyo, probably he went there kunoplanda anonzi macastings acho. Kana anga achidonedza macastings acho kuti vakatakaita exchange of gunfire. There is totally nothing that can show that those guys had an exchange of gunfire. So reconstructing the events of that crime scene to try and get evidence from there is very difficult, because the gentleman, after shooting these people, he went on to photograph them, explaining the crime scene. Saka you never know, could say munu ane a motive ndiye akatokanda zvinyere, because apana AK yaonekwa paya, apana kuti alright, ngatiti right, a simple narrative that I want you to consider. The first suspect shot, he was the one holding an AK assault rifle, according to his explanation. Then when the next suspect to be shot saw that his colleague has been shot, he akanomhanya kunodhonza pfuti. Adhonza pfuti AK assault rifle, he was shot. As that means akadona ne-AK yake paakapfurwa ipapo. Ndobva atanzi mwana wangu akatumwa namakuruwana uyu kuti enda unotora pfutiyo undipe. Mwana ndobva aenda kunotora pfuti iya, ndobva apa makuruwana. Makuruwana achibva apfurwa, achibva afa. That means AK yamakuruwana yaifana kurara next to makuruwana. Both vamwe ava two ava vanga vakutotiza. Saka iyo pfuti yamakuruwana iripi hatina kuiona. If makuruwana anga ane pfuti, paakapfurwa iye ndiye akanga apuwa pfuti nemwana, iri kupi hatina kuiona pfuti. Atiratidza the crime scene yese, but pfuti AK yamakuruwana hatina kuiona. Ndo pfuti one iri kunzi yakatorwa yanga ine uyo ndikamuuraya, ikatorwa neuyu ndikamuuraya, ikatorwa namakuruwana ndikamuuraya. Saka pfuti yacho iri kupi? Pa crime scene on that video, we did not see the weapon. And it more. So reconstructing events according to what he said, it's gonna be very difficult for forensic scientists. The subsequent analysis that I'm giving now, it must lead some people to see the truth of this matter. The use and misuse of firearms here to perpetrate crimes. This gentleman has got 2 firearms which could have been used to perpetrate crimes. But obviously, the first suspect he shot did not open fire. The second suspect, he shot him after grabbing the weapon of the first suspect. And so, he did not open fire. Makuruwana, pakapuwa pfuti, I don't think he opened the fire. And he was shot. Where is the weapon? The AK. He is claiming that these people, they opened the fire. It was exchange of gunshot. Vamotu arunzi vakatiza. Because ava vaimbomira. Kana vatoona kuti chatobvondoka vanhu vari kungodonha mbao. havangambomire unonhonga pfuti yeuyo kuti vatize nayo. That could have been done by a commando. Because mukomando ndiye aigona kuti pfuti haisare. Kana kuti mumwe wangu apfurwa akuvara haasare, andomubereka unotiza naye akamutakura. Andimaona. Saka there are quite a lot of questions here than answers. There is more to this scenario than what the eye can see. So that can necessitate numerous invitations of opinions. We can reconstruct it now, but we don't have time to do it. The discharge of firearms, the behavior of projectiles, they create many physical evidence. Walls perforated, spent cartridges on the floor, injuries to those who were not killed, and scars on the bodies. They tell a lot. And so through proper investigation, through proper interpretation of the statement that he said on video, probably this gentleman might find himself in prison. No, there is an alternative way that this crime can turn. It depends on what the arrested two are gonna say, because the police had given a sixth suspect. And so exactly what occurred on this day is something that people need to understand. The approach iri panapa ndeyekuti mazeta mapurisa, if they are serious about investigating such crimes and bring the truth, they must have what we call practicing forensic scientists, firearm and true mark examiners. Vanofana kuve panapa. Because pakadaro apo panenge pachidiwa anonzi ballistic experts, vanofana kuve present. Panofana kuita crime scene personnel, experts of a crime scene. Vanhu vanoziva kwete kungotora mafingerprints ezvitunha for identification. The people who can investigate with is this a proper robbery, or it's something that this Makuruan wanted just to eliminate his friends and enjoy the whole loot from ZB Bank. Saka panenge pakudawo forensic consultants akaita sesu takuvapawo expert opinion kuti nyaya iyi kana makuita approach less guys, look into this, look into that, look into that. Panozopindawo forensic pathologists vanonotarisa zvitunha kuti chitunha ichi bara rakapinda nepapa rikabuda nepapa, saka munhu likely anga akamira papi munhu. Because ukapfurwa iwe wakamira wakatarisa kudo, une madonhero aunoita. You don't just fall anyhow. Une madonhero aunoita. Saka rarira anga akaenda mabodies aya, panofana kuona kuti hapana akapfurwa nekugotsi iri paya. Because bara rinooneka parapinda neparabuda napo. So mumwe anogona kwakapfurwa gotsi chaiyo, akamira kuzi satanewo boom, da mari yangu boom, vanhu vachipfurwa vachifa. But very 3 out of those 3 dead people, not even one exchanged fire paya, according to what he said. Because ari kuti ndakatanga kuona anga ne AK ndeuyu vandamupfura, uyu pakamhaida unhonga AK vandamupfura. Mwana wangu ndobva atumwa naMakuruwani kutora AK achitamidza Makuruwani, ndobva ndarova Makuruwani. That means these 3 dead bodies, not even one body managed to exchange fire with this gentleman. So the shooting scene itself must be properly investigated. Because when we talk of investigation here, we talk of the range of the firearm, where distance of the fire and where the dead body was, that distance, it determines a lot. My types of injuries anenge ari pabody, they can tell. Kuti pfuti unoziva kuti zvakaita 9mm, ndikakupfuura iwo ne 9mm, especially pachest, A close range 9mm ndiyakurwana yati vam inogona kutadza kubuda, inogona kuloja, inogona kuloja. I know kuti kuna vamwe vanozviramba pandakazviona 9mm yakarova munhu chest ikaramba kubuda ikaloja mukati from a Uzi SMG. Saka zvinhu zvekuti people must understand 9mm ndikakurwana ari pachest panapa at close range rogona kutadza kubuda kumashure. This is something that I saw. And so the sequence of shots in a multiple discharge shooting incident inooneka sequence. Saka you must kana uri a forensic scientist, you must understand the range where these firearms were discharged from, the sequence of shots, the position of a firearm and the position of a fire when this weapon was discharged, and the position of victim at the moment of impact. These are some of the things that forensic scientists must consider when looking at shooting incidents like this, so that the truth can come out. The probable flight path of a bullet, the manner in which a firearm has been discharged, very crucial when we are investigating or reconstructing this type of crime scenes. This is sort of evidence, ladies and gentlemen, will surely become more and more important, that it deserves the attention and consideration of every forensic scientist. Every forensic scientist investing or involved in the reconstruction of a shooting incident must know the things that. Because if there was exchange of gunfire, sound AK assault rifle inside the house, baba inonzwika kana kuti a kilometer or 2 miles can hear kwarira pfuti mumba, and the amount of damage that can be caused by an AK assault rifle is something that can tell whether there was exchange of gunfire and more. Let's not take this personally, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not take it personally. We are not confronting the killer. We are not confronting the dead. We are just trying to highlight some expert opinions. I'm not being rude on this one, but I am trying to highlight certain issues of importance that forensic consultants or forensic scientists must reconsider or must consider. Especially mufesu vakamutora vakanomu investigate, vakanomu bvunzurudza, vamupurisa, they can lock him up. Believe me, they can lock him up for murder. Because now people are now understanding why he reacted in the way he did. Because you cannot attend a crime scene yekumba kwako iwe wega, nepfuti yako iwe wega, without informing the police, driving all the way from 𝗏𝗏𝗏 to 𝗏𝗏𝗏 to go and confront this gentleman. It raises a lot of eyebrows. So this is why I am saying, can we call this gentleman a Rambo? Can we call this gentleman a Rambo? Considering that at one time the magistrate during G40 refused to prosecute or to try this gentleman for brutal assault on a CIO gentleman, 𝗖𝗹𝗲𝗍𝗂𝗰𝗵. And more. So this is where my main concerns are. That these are politically connected people in our country. They are politically connected people in Zimbabwe. You understand? Such political connected individuals are difficult to deal with them. They are difficult to deal with them. Even magistrates are scared of dealing with them. The law is scared of dealing with such people. And ndosaka tiri kutaura kuti vakomana varume nyika yeZimbabwe yakuda change of government only so that we can bring sanity to our country. Ndofunga with this explanation ndavhura pfungwa dzevanhu vakawanda. But some people were saying we were waiting for your comment yesterday, Shepherd. Ndikavati no. I will comment today. Ndichipawo my opinion, what I think about this case. What I can only say is this case must be reinvestigated. There must be proper investigation on this case so that Zimbabweans understand kuti zvii zvingagona kuve zvakaitika. I could have shown you the video, but because of their graphic content, it's like ndengenda 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗀. I can't play this video kuvanhu kuti vaone, but those vari banana WhatsApp, you guys have seen.
I just need you to sign this.
This okay. I'll read and sign it. Okay. Bye. Bye. You support Manchester.
Oh my God! Start again. You know Manchester won anyway.
It won. I hate Manchester.
That's your own problem.
So guys, you understand what you are saying. Sorry, I'm just joking with my boy. He likes Manchester, but I know what he cries. So I make him cry every time when his team loses. And in morning. Saka, I'm trying to play this video. Pane imwe yandoda kutry player. Kana isiri ndiyo ndobva ndakata. Yaramba kuplaya. Another video, the explanation that this gentleman was giving, it doesn't make sense. This is why, man, if you are involved in such serious incidents like this, there are certain things that you must do. First of all, I said, take a step back from this incident and evaluate what you are actually seeing. Don't vent on this, because you can give a statement that will turn against you tomorrow. You understand? So don't create problems for yourself. This gentleman has already created problems for himself. He has got a video recorded of him explaining how he shot the first, second, and third commandos, killing them. It raises a lot of it is a process that he was explaining, but he did it emotionally. He was talking about his family held hostage. He never thought of including the police to assist him to deal with the people who held his family hostage, and he just went to gun them down and claimed that there was exchange of fire. You understand? So it's very difficult for people to acknowledge his side of story until a proper investigation has been done. So what he should have just done is given himself a break, sit down and think. The alternative explanation, the hypothesis here that I've looked into, this can uncover, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of issues regarding this shooting. If you analyze this situation, if you analyze it, focusing on what I've said, focusing on the outcome of the investigation, definitely there are a lot to this scenario than what the eye can actually see. Because what needs to be established here is how this occurred. Not the likelihood of this not occurring, but how this occurred. Can this gentleman now, when he sleeps, realize that this could turn against him? You understand? So I understand from everything that I've stated, I've mentioned this evening, you guys have picked some learning points on this scenario. It's a scenario that people should learn. And this gentleman, during Mugabe era, he was the untouchable cop. 𝗁𝗵𝗵𝗯 was the untouchable cop. Even judges, magistrates, they were scared of trying him. He's the gentleman who defied, he was above the law, who even refused to sign a warned and cautioned statement. And the court had to summon him to court to come and answer criminal charges of brutal assault on a CIO gentleman. So this explains a lot about his previous activities, because it is stated that the gentleman has got a lot of human rights abuse cases that are following him. So this can also be a battle between the 𝗨𝗁𝗁𝗏 and the 𝗁𝗏𝗏. But this gentleman is a non-𝗁𝗏𝗏 member. So how did he keep a string ball? Andini murugona. Pakaipa ipapa. Quite a lot of things, gentlemen, which are not adding up to this case. So I did not give any conclusion here. I did not say anything that could face with but I was looking at the hypothesis and the alternative explanation of the likelihood of this gentleman being a gangster, a leader of a gang that goes around robbing people. And him on. So let me show you this gentleman, 𝗍𝗔 𝗁𝗏. This is the gentleman, 𝗍𝗔 𝗁𝗏, with 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗯𝗹𝗲's son and a Rolls Royce. This is the gentleman who cried like a monkey. Ngetsokweni mabayo asungwa na 𝗍𝗵𝗵𝗀. Joseph 𝗍𝗵𝗵𝗀 arrested this 𝗨𝗨𝗁𝗏 gentleman during that time. And this gentleman, pandone video achichema achiswa simba achikudonzvuzvurudzwa ndo mhosva yakazopa kuti mufesu yaazosungwa aendeswe kupi kukoti mamagistrate vazochema. So this is the CIO gentleman 𝗍𝗔 𝗁𝗏 with Amai Mnangagwa here. You can see how connected the gentleman is. The gentleman is well connected. This is the gentleman akaita kuti mufesu yaazosungwa, this 𝗁𝗏. He was now arrested, you can tell him. He's a well-connected gentleman here, 𝗍𝗔 𝗁𝗏, with the president himself and the finance minister. He's a well-connected gentleman. Here you can see Pese Panamai Mnangagwa is there. He's seen here with 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗯𝗹𝗲's son, a well-connected gentleman. You can see him standing next to the president. Well-connected gentleman who can be used to make sure that that detective is fixed. No suit yanga kapfeka musi aichema unge kiti. You see. So this is the gentleman, 𝗁𝗏. A well-connected gentleman. A well-connected gentleman who was arrested at Rotterdam Court by this gentleman known as Joseph 𝗍𝗵𝗵𝗀. This was during the 𝗨𝗨𝗁𝗏 and the 𝗁𝗏𝗏 battles. The battles could be continuing. This is why I'm saying this case has got an alternative case. And this gentleman has not been clever enough, Joseph 𝗍𝗵𝗵𝗀, because he should have called the police. to deal with these people who held his family hostage. Because a lot of explanations will crop up that will lead to his incarceration. He's going, believe me, mark my words, because he's a G40 gentleman who was feared during the Mugabe era, and now is murdered, saving members of the army, claiming that they were robbers. Although some of the people are known as robbers there. You never know. This can take another twist, and this gentleman might end up in prison himself for murder, or might be hanged. Mark my words. Asad Zatanga, andini maona. Asad Zatanga, gentlemen. Asad Zatanga at all. This is the beginning of the fall of Joseph Nemaisa, the untouchable cop, during Robert Mugabe era. Amuna zvamai vaita sekuru ava. Amuna. Andimona. Zvekuti kusungwa kwake otherwise kuchagona kuburitsa nyaya dzakawanda. Kana dzekufa kwadaita idzamara vanani zvinogona kuzobuda futi izvozvo. Saka, let me show you this video where he was explaining. Painenge yakuenda graphics, I'm not going to show you. This is the gentleman, the untouchable. The untouchable. So, content warning, the video, Harare lawyer shoots dead 3 armed robbers. So, this is the gentleman.
Distributing it around something like 10 or 14 minutes to 10 p.m. last night. I just received a call from my son. He simply told me,
look at that property,
then,
a detective property.
I just reacted by jumping onto the steering wheel, and I drove as fast as I could from 𝗁𝗂𝗃 area. Then I drove. I took about probably 10-12 minutes to get here. I parked my vehicle at the back of that property. There's a rather place called crane. Then I was armed with a 𝗁𝗵𝗃 firearm.
𝗁𝗵𝗃 firearm.
Ran through this vacant stand and jumped into my yard through the wall. Right. As soon as I was on the wall,
the graphics.
Surrounding intruders. So what I did first, I fired the first shot whilst I was right in the corner there. Then I ran through the garden, and then I did 360 just to check if it was safe for me to attack the robbers. He peeped through the passage, right? As soon as he showed up on the passage. I shot him, he went down. I shot him in the chest and he went down. The 2 others ran back into the main bedroom. Then in order to confuse them, I went to that window. I fired 3 shots into my bedroom, and I went to the other window facing north. I fired 2 more shots into the bedroom, just to try and drive them out of my bedroom. Right? Then I quickly returned here. I'm sure they were pretty confused. Then secondly, another man emerged. He was quite a young boy. He emerged again from the corridor, same spot. As soon as he showed up, I shot him straight in the head. He fell down. He was wielding another rifle.
So this gentleman is saying, the second man, this young man, he showed up. He never fired anything. Then I shot him straight.
Right. Then there was one of them, a very huge man with no gun. So what he did was, he was very clever. He tapped the door to alert my son. He called my son. But he couldn't see me because I was standing right here. He was in the light and I was in the dark. He called my son and instructed him to pick the AK-47 rifle. which was, in the possession of this guy who had dropped down first. My son woke up, took the weapon, gave it back to the robber, right? He continued firing, and all along they had been taking turns to fire. They fired a total of 13 shots inside the house. Then this guy, at first he was firing from the corridor. He was not quite sure of where the shooter was, or where I was firing from. So he made another mistake. He then showed up right at the corner there. As soon as he showed up, I dropped him. So there were now 3 dead men inside the house. But the first guy that I shot, he managed to crawl into my guest room. This is where he died. I will show you inside the house. This is where he died. And 2 of them, the one I shot in the head, as well as the one who instructed my son to take the AK rifle, they were right on this corridor from this end, not knowing I was dropping them from a 90 degree.
Guys, if these people were firing back according to 𝗏𝗏𝗏,
to the robber, right? He continued firing, and all along they had been taking turns.
He's saying they continued firing.
Fired a total of 13 shots inside the house. Then this guy, at first he was firing from the corridor. He was not quite sure of where the shooter was, or where I was firing from. So he made another mistake. He then showed up right at the corner there. As soon as he showed up,
these shots were fired from outside, as I've mentioned there.
There were now
he himself shot them
inside the house. But the first guy that I shot, he managed to crawl into my guest room. This is where he died. I will show you inside the house. This is where he died. And 2 of them, the one I shot in the head.
This is probably the only damage that you can tell.
My son to take the AK rifle. They were right on this corridor from this end, not knowing I was dropping them.
1 bullet hit here.
From a 90 degree.
No bullets on the door.
This is one of the shots.
I didn't know. Saka one damage yacho cannot be from an AK assault rifle. So this is why we are saying you never know with all this what is happening. Because people are saying this gentleman is probably one of the gang members. So when Herald visited the scene, bodies of the dead men, armed men, had been taken to 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗶𝗀 Central Hospital mortuary, whilst a team of the CID homicide, CID scenes of crime, CID forensics, 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏 Canine and Hatfield were at the scene. Some of the neighbors were still in a state of shock, and most of them said they couldn't get out of their houses when they heard gunshots coming out of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's house, fearing they could be caught on crossfire. And according to information from police, Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏's wife saw 3 men walking near their house before she closed the gate and parked her car, and then joined her family in the living room. After about 5 minutes, she heard their dogs barking viciously and instructed her brother Masimba Msarurwa to lock the main door. But as he was doing so, she heard someone trying to force that door open. Her son, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, then quickly phoned his father, informing him of the intruders. Police say whole family went to their bedrooms, while Miss 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 went into the bathing room, where she locked herself from inside. The robbers then forced open the main door to the house before assaulting occupants and forcing them to lie down while at the time, demanding to see Miss 𝗍𝗫𝗁, who came out to save her other family members from further assault. She was hit on the face and discovered that 2 of the robbers were armed with rifles. The robbers were then led to the bedroom where she handed over $850. They then ransacked the house and took a Samsung M20 cell phone belonging to Miss 𝗍𝗫𝗁, a black Acer laptop, and a shotgun. When the accused persons were about to leave, Joseph 𝗍𝗫𝗁 arrived at the scene and shot at the accused who were still in the house, and there was an exchange of gunfire, which led to the death of 3 of the accused persons and damaging the walls and the windows of the house. Chiregeraiti tizonzwa kuti zvofamba sei. It's so disturbing. If it is a robbery committed by members of the uniformed force, the army and the police, then it explains to what Zimbabweans are going through. Imagine those without access to firearm in Zimbabwe. How are they surviving? When people who have got access to state armory are robbing people of money, assuming that these gentlemen were robbers. But the alternative is that the gentlemen who shot them dead was perhaps one of the gang members. Let me read the final part before we call it quits. Ex-detective shot colleagues. It has come to light that the ex-detective 𝗍𝗫𝗁, who shot 3 suspected robbers, did so after a misunderstanding with his colleagues. 𝗍𝗫𝗁 was one of the masterminds of the ZB robbery that occurred this year, where $22.8 million was stolen. Among those shot at 𝗍𝗫𝗁's house are Charles Chirara and Darogora, who was a soldier from Commando. Reliable sources said that 𝗍𝗫𝗁 has been in custody of the greater part of the loot. He has promised to keep it safe. His colleagues had been demanding their shares for months, but he had been telling them stories where, upon realizing that the 3 were threatening to expose him, he resorted to elimination. The sequence of events to his narration do not add up and shows that it is a cooked up story. This is the final say, the alternative explanation of the shootings. Ladies and gentlemen, already yakuspinwa nyaya iyi. Vakuru havane pfuti mbiri. Striborg, a very powerful firearm that can never be licensed for anyone in Zimbabwe. Shotguns and other pistols, probably. AK is never licensed. So I stand to be corrected here. Vanhu vanoziva zvema firearms licensing in Zimbabwe ndibatsirei. Ndogona kutaura kuti vana Striborg vakaita sana Uzi SMG as license, but chandoziva ndoti AK hakuna munhu ane AK mumba kuZimbabwe. Saka let's wait for the next investigation. I have given you the forensic side of the issue, how it should be approached, a scientific way of dealing with the matter. Now let's wait for the police investigation. I'll be monitoring, but Zimbabwe police has failed in forensic science. They failed a lot. They don't understand what forensic entails until consultants like 𝗁𝗍𝗵𝗀 comes with ideas. So tag the police on this video to make their approach investigative. And ndimona, I salute you, ladies and gentlemen. Regai ndipedze ndichiti pane bank account randichakupai mangwana randichitaura nezvaro. Bank account iri ndo rine kurikuiswa chema ya 𝗍𝗶𝗵𝗍𝗶. There are other developments, ladies and gentlemen. When I say to the people of Zimbabwe, please, let's stop concluding that 𝗍𝗶𝗵𝗍𝗶 died of COVID, because there are other signs and symptoms which have been noted by close relatives and friends which do not point to COVID. I'm not privy to divulge that at the moment, but what I'm saying is rule out COVID, or you can say it's COVID, but let's be cautious, because I'm not privy to divulge what I gathered today in regard to the death. I will talk about it probably when my young brother is buried. After burial, I might be talking more about this. At the moment, we are still mourning. We are in the midst of crying, mourning. So it's not proper for me to discuss this at the moment. But let's concentrate on the transport bearing. Let's concentrate on burying my young brother. The post-mortem hasn't been done, but probably tomorrow or so the post-mortem will be done. Saka mari dzinenge dzichiiswa muaccount yakacreatwa namukoma 𝗍𝗶𝗵𝗍𝗶 ndo muri kupinda chema. Those who were holding on to their chema ndokwaturisa mari ikoko. Further announcements will be done kana taunzwa something else in regard to the burial. But in regard to the cause of death at the moment, we still wait for the family to give us a confirmation. So I'm not privy to say things that I've heard today until the post-mortem has been done. And ndimona saka ndikaenditi good night vaswera vari pano tatandara zvakwana ndombotanga something else. Good night. Tatenda chirarai zvakanaka.